Hello and welcome back to the Gfinity EU Pro League. My name is Chris Trout, aka the Trout91, joined by my lovely co-caster Ink for tonight's Pro League. Obviously, we've been going through the Super Week to kick things off in the Season 2 fixtures. So today we're going to be going through the second half of our Super Week. Obviously, last night we had an amazing start to the Pro League, maybe, depending on how you see things. It was a little bit hit and miss at times, but it was a interesting start with a lot of drama going on, not only on the field of play, but outside of it with the whole new roster changes and everything going on.
Yeah, well, I can't really add anything to that. I mean, we saw last night in the other games, we saw booting going on in the Vitality game. We saw upsets with the Epsilon game. We saw demolitions from Infused. And then we saw Hyper games, yeah, just kind of go a little bit weird, to be honest with you. So the way to kick off, I should say, what a way to kick off Season 2 of the E-Pro League. And to be honest with you, although there were problems last night, today is going to be, or tonight I should say, is going to be quite hard to follow up, as in coming on from last night.
Yeah, it seems like what we've got tonight should have hopefully have been what we had the previous night. But nevertheless, let's have a quick look at how this is all going to go down. For those of you who have still not quite got into the Pro League yet, this is what you're looking at. It's 8 of Europe's best teams playing 7 games in a total season. Obviously, this season's a little bit more compact because we're trying to fit it in all with a LAN that ends at the end of the season. Obviously, the league format is very traditional. You win, you get 3 points. You draw, you get 1 point, and you lose. If you're wondering why, how can you draw in a best of whatever it is going to be? We're actually doing something called the Super 6 series here, is where all 6 maps will be played. You get 2 maps of each game mode, so everyone gets a chance to play everything on an even scale. So we thought we'd mix it up and get it all nice and good and have something a little bit fresh to keep people going. And obviously this is about getting regular competition and regular practice for the teams so we can actually give them everything they need so they can go and compete against the Americans, basically what it is about. But that's that. We'll take a quick look at the fixtures that we've got going on tonight as well. We've got Infused going up against Hyper Games. Obviously, Hyper Games giving us a bit of trouble last night with their lack of professionalism. I'm not afraid to take a dig at them still because I'm a little bit annoyed with how they acted, but hopefully they have rectified that for tonight. Spirit Gaming, obviously with a huge upset last night, going to be taking on VWS. We've got Gfinity eSports, who had a very rocky start to their Premiership debut against Team Vitality tonight. Epsilon versus Millenium is going to be the game that we are going to be covering tonight. Obviously, Millenium playing last night made a huge announcement just before the Pro League went live that they took the old Epsilon roster minus Reedy and replaced him with Gataga.
Yeah, well, Millennium last night came out in full force, but I think you made a couple predictions, as always, and I think you've gone for a fairly convincing result for Millennium. So let's take a look at your prediction and just walk us through what your thoughts were on this.
So I'm thinking with the Infused type of games, Infused had an incredible start to the season last night. I'm expecting a 6-0 purely because of how Hyper Games acted yesterday. I don't think they're really going to change too much. I just hope they come in with a little bit more gusto and a little bit more creativity in what they're trying to do, because yesterday it wasn't very impressive what we saw, and it was not the kind of Hyper Games we're used to seeing. I've gone for a 3-0 with Spirit Gaming and VWS. VWS having... We said it yesterday that maybe because they haven't split up their team, that they have still got that chemistry, which some of the other teams lacked. Obviously, we saw Vitality and Epsilon lose yesterday in surprising fashion, so maybe that chemistry will hold tight, as well as Spirit Gaming managing to cause one of those upsets. I'm expecting a pretty even contest there. On the other games, we got Vitality. Obviously, we know how good they are. Gfinity eSports, I really don't think they're going to have too good of a time in the Premiership this season. They might manage to pick a point here or there, but I'm going with a swift 5-1 for Vitality and a 5-1 victory for Millenium over Epsilon. Although this is such a hotly contested match, and I'm sure we're going to be all excited to watch it. It's going to be great games overall. I just can't see Millenium dropping too many maps. They're just looking too strong at the moment.
Yeah, well, I agree with you to an extent, but we'll take a look at my predictions now, because I have gone for something slightly different. So, kick things off, obviously, Infused up against Hyper Games. I think Hyper Games will take a map, bearing in mind they were just one round away from taking a map off of Millenium yesterday, and that was obviously no easy feat, bearing in mind the form that Millenium are in. Spirit Gaming VWS, now I've gone for a pretty convincing win for VWS. Spirit Gaming yesterday only really won from what I heard and what I saw because of the connection issues that Vitality faced, whereas VWS got a win over Epsilon clean. No arguments from either side, so to speak, so I think VWS should be fairly dominant. They were obviously here last season. Spirit Gaming only just been promoted, so I think maybe the experience will come into play there. IGI against Vitality. As long as there are no connection issues for the second night in a row, Vitality should, wrap this up fairly convincingly. Again, I keep using the word convincingly, but I don't want to say stomped on. Then the final game, obviously, Millenium up against Epsilon. I've gone for 4-2 in favor of Millenium, but I think this is going to be a lot closer than some people anticipate. But obviously, before we went live, I sent out a tweet and said, look, you know, send me in your predictions. And most people were actually saying...
Epsilon favor,
a lot of people were saying, yeah, Epsilon. They had a sloppy night last night. I'm wondering if that's
because they don't really know. I mean, the news...
Haven't been watching.
Yeah, the news was announced literally almost an hour before we went live with this. Like, half of us didn't even know that this announcement was going down. So... yeah. It is a case that maybe not everyone knows about them. And so just to give a recap, what are the rosters for both the teams? And talk me through them and who you think is probably the stronger team.
So we'll start off with Millenium, as that's who we saw last night. We haven't got any pretty graphics for you, so you're just going to have to listen to my beautiful voice, I'm afraid. So obviously the Millenium roster is the old core 3 from Epsilon. So we've got Mad Cat, unbelievable performance last night, just slaying out of his mind.
He was on it.
Yeah, then you've got Rated, did all the dirty work alongside Joe as well, the supposed one of the best sub players in Europe. I keep saying it because I want to put some pressure on him, but to be fair, he's living up to it at the moment. And then Gataga, the French monster himself, he was pretty much, he adapted his role from the old Millenium side, but unbelievable performance last night again, and I hope he can do that again. However, Epsilon, now the big changes come into effect. So Reedy stayed on that Epsilon EU side, but Swanee, returning from Epsilon NA, goes straight back onto Epsilon EU. Shane, returning from America also, from TCM if I'm not mistaken. And then we've got a brand new player with Zero. Now, I've been looking into Zero a little bit, not in a stalkery way kind of thing, but doing my research on Zero. And, you know, I've been looking into his experience with that kind of stuff, and he's only ever competed at 2 LAN events. Both of those LAN events, he finished T32 and T8. He finished T8 with Aware Gaming. They're Aware Gaming, obviously. They're no noobs, so to speak. So he's got some level of experience competing with a strong side. However, this is definitely a step up for him. But to be honest with you, from what I've seen, I think he can handle the pressure. But it's just going to be about how quickly this Epsilon team can, you know, gel together, so to speak. Because Millenium, they look gelled already. They've literally just... I mean, it's still the same core 3. Gataga is just such a good player that it doesn't really matter what side he's in. He can just adapt to whatever. So the real question mark is going to be on Epsilon. If they've gelled overnight, so to speak, which is improbable, but if they've been practicing last night after the league went off and obviously practicing all day today, we could see them come out and 6-0 Millenium. But then, obviously, if it carries on what it did last night, we could see Millenium 6-0 them. So this game really could go either way. And you know, we touched on this last night very briefly, and this is a big game for Epsilon in particular, because if they lose this, they go 6 points behind Millenium and perhaps even Infused, and trying to win a title from being 6 points behind after 2 games would be difficult to say the least.
21 points up for grabs in total for each team, and they would lose out on 6 effectively, which would really hinder their chances to actually be able to challenge for that top spot. And you said that Millenium looks so strong at the moment. It looks so structured. We said it ourselves, and I said it to a number of people last night, that Millenium looks structured. They look like players who have played together, obviously, for a long time. We've seen the core 3, obviously, have played together for about a month, I would say, maybe a little bit less than that. So they're very well in the know of how each other plays. And Gataga's just slotted into this spot. And before we saw Gataga, he looked like he was trying to do everyone's job at the same time, because he was just in a team that really weren't living up to the kind of performance he was putting in himself. So it's nice to see him actually in a team with players who can play properly. And I said it yesterday, that when you are in a team of players who know what they're doing and can perform, you will play better. And it looks like he's not only playing better, but he's also a little bit more controlled in what he's doing. He's not all over the shop trying to do everything. He has got his defined role, and he's doing it effectively. And having said that, has rubbed off on some of his teammates. I saw Madcat, who at the 100k for me, I wasn't too sure if he was anchoring, if he was slaying, what exactly he was doing. He was doing a bit of both at the 100k, and this time it looked a little bit more like he had a structure, like he knew when it was time to anchor. We saw it on the Detroit Hardpoint. He was anchoring properly, and then at times when he needed to and someone else was holding the spawns for him, he was slaying out. It looked a little bit more defined, a lot more controlled, and a lot more fluid.
Yeah.
So we've obviously been implementing the DLC maps for this Season 2, so we can actually have a fair go at Worlds for our counterparts in the NA, who have obviously been playing with them for a while. And we're going to take a quick look at them. So you'll see a couple of new maps in there. There's going to be Drift, Hardpoint, and Uplink Parliament we've seen in there. Obviously, we saw, I believe it was Compound and Skyrise yesterday. I was quite a fan of both of those maps. These 2 maps, I think they can do some nice things to make things a little bit interesting. I don't know what your thoughts are, but some of the players in the game itself haven't quite gotten to grips with them.
No, I think Millenium in particular, you know, I obviously follow them all on Twitter. I keep plugging Twitter. It's awful. It's almost like I work for them. But no, I promise you I don't. But following the guys on Twitter and things like that, they were saying, you know, we really need to scrim on DLC maps. We're really struggling with DLC maps. We need to tweak things on DLC maps. So it's literally thrown a spanner in the works. And it's literally made teams question how they will play certain maps, and that's exactly what we want. We don't want it so it's the same maps over and over again every single season. This is season 2. We wanted to spice it up. However, we're now going old school. We're jumping straight into Detroit Hardpoint. Map number 1, Epsilon EU up against Millenium. So, Trout, who are we going to start on board with?
Let's start on board with Magcat and see what he's got. It looks like he has pulled out that AR to begin with, and obviously we saw Millenium play on this map last night, and they look very, very comfortable throughout the entire thing. So let's see how they get on against the likes of Epsilon, who are oh, sorry, it is Uplink, my bad.
Oh, no. Yeah.
But yeah, it is Uplink. I apologize, but I was a bit confused why we had the same game mode and the same map.
Oh, yeah, we've never ever started off with an Uplink, though. This is the first time in the Pro League.
I think we might have seen it once or twice, but
really?
It's not very rare. It's very rare, sorry, that we see it straight off the back. As Magcat has started to get control of this Jeep, he wants to clear the way for his team so they can push for a score. 0 challenge, and that's Shane as well. This is just an easy relay for Millenium right now. Epsilon don't really know what to do. They're spawning together now. Need to make sure they get Magcat off this Jeep, as he is finally going to get taken down. That's good communication from Epsilon, but let's see if they can stop the bleed.
Well, at the moment, obviously, Rated is going to be running through the score with that drone if he slides. Oh, no, gets taken out there. Big 2-piece from Swanee. Magcat last alive for this Millenium side, and it looks like Epsilon have stopped the bleeding, as you said, and Magcat absolutely destroys Reedy there, pretty much through the wall. And we have to emphasize, maybe a little bit of a rivalry here between Reedy and the likes of Magcat, Rated, and Joe, ex-teammates. So both sides will want to win even more so because they want to prove that they're on the stronger team now. They've got the better end of the deal, so to speak. But right now, Zero's locking down this pit area, taken down, though, from the 3 streak. And thus far, sloppy start for Epsilon, but it looks like they're getting back into this.
Absolutely. I think they were just caught off by surprise what happened there, and it's up to Epsilon to really start to get a hold of this. Obviously, they're on the weaker side, so they expect to go down this half, but they really need to communicate a bit better. Swanee caught out there with an AR, not a very good situation. Epsilon need to stop this if they can. It's not going to happen. 5-0 now, and they really aren't making too many kills. Shane with a, oh no, not a free piece, does get a team kill there, but does keep them at bay as he follows up with the 3rd kill eventually, and he's going to push through to this garage. Hopefully, he's going to try and influence the spawn so they push onto yellow. He's actually going to go for the overextend. Gataga shuts him down and stops that going any further.
Yeah, well, Joe's going to jump into pit now. He's going to get challenged from the school area. Looks like 3 players from Epsilon in school, though. They definitely need to start defending that area of the map significantly better, and that's exactly what they're doing. 4 down now for Millenium, so this is better. Epsilon, it's giving them an opportunity to get some map control, and that's exactly what Zero seems to be doing. But no, he's just going to launch it straight into that Millenium base, and it looks like it's just being caught there by Rated. Rated is going to launch it out and trying to get some map control of his own. But right now, Epsilon, it's a little bit hit and miss, so to speak.
Absolutely. And Rated putting that out for the 15-second countdown just to make sure that they can get out of the base very safely, make some kills in their favor, and move forward. As we see Swanee, the human turret, just on top of this Atlas box, trying to get anyone he can. See if he can wait down the timer as the ball is going to reset. It is intercepted by Magcat. A surprise kill comes back on him. Reedy getting that kill. Reedy gets a second one. Now it's time for Epsilon to push forward if Shane can make this vital kill. Spots Rated in the box and does get taken down by Magcat in the end. Magcat 11-4 right now. I don't know what he has been doing lately, but he is on fire for Millenium right now.
100%. It's just because Gataga has kind of taken a little bit of a step back and doing more of the dirty work alongside Rated. It's just enabled Magcat to just play with a little bit more freedom and literally just slay out the opposition. But the thing about Magcat is he can just change up his role per map, so you don't know if he's going to be anchoring, you don't know if he's been playing aggressively. I expect he can even play OBJ. He can literally do it all. So the key word for Magcat is versatility. But Zero, currently in ball with him, the player in question, 7-8, 2 streak, not a bad start for him, has to be said from a personal perspective. And if he can get this pass, no, he's not going to get the pass. Yes, he is. Yeah, Reedy intercepts it, but no, he's going to get taken down last minute though. But it looks like Zero actually survives. He's going to hit a dunk of his own. So great play from Zero there. Picks up 3 kills, launches a drone, and actually finishes off the dunk himself.
Absolutely, and we are on board with Swanee right now. Joe is going for the sneaky plant round the back. Let's see if he does get it off. Ooh. Running straight over. That should be an easy 2. Ooh. Just about gets there. 6-2 to Millenium right now.
Yeah, actually, he was actually in the portal and actually gave 1 point. A little bit, I think, Advanced Warfare there being a little bit ungenerous, if that's even a word.
Yeah, it might have been that he died on the portal and it's fallen and fell into the hole because
very unlucky.
sometimes we said yesterday the hitboxes are quite generous on the uplink, so it means I imagine the ball has fallen a tiny bit short and fallen into that generous hitbox, which is giving him the 1 point now. We are on board with Zero right now. Challenging Gataga, does eventually get the kill. This is better by Epsilon, starting to make some slaying power go their way. Reedy sitting on top of 18-wheelers, so they do spawn out on the garage. Swanee's going to pick this ball up. He's going to be met by Rated. Goes past him, gets the 2 point, and that's much better by Epsilon. A lot more coordinated, and it looks like they were just off to a bad start, and they're starting to gain some form. Yeah,
that was poor from Reedy, though. Just literally let Swanee ghost past him without even really going for the punch at all. If he would have gone for that punch, he would have picked up a very simple kill there and stopped that dunk. However, great recovery here from Epsilon. They were 5-0 down after 60 seconds, and the fact that they brought it back to 6-4, and unless it's going to be 7-4, it's going to be 7-4. No, Zero intercepts again. And thus far, you know, what are your first impressions of Zero? This is the first time he's actually been on this stream, first time in a big team, as we've already said, and from what I've seen so far, it looks like he's actually a pretty good player.
Yeah, well, if you're playing in a team with the likes of Shane, Swanee, and Reedy, you're not going to be the most average player, are you?
Yeah,
really?
100%.
I don't think we've seen too much of him so far, so if we can give him a little bit more camera time, put the camera and the lights on him, we can actually see exactly what this Zero is made of, because honestly, I hadn't really heard of Zero until the announcement, and I'm excited to see what he can do. It could be the start of something very special in the EU scene where people who aren't so well known and are a lot younger can actually get more regular time with some of the pros and be given a chance. Because if there's something that I've always been critical of the European scene or the Call of Duty scene in general, is they don't tend to give a lot of opportunities to some of the what's the word I'm trying to look for? The more unknown players, the players who are good players, but they haven't actually been given the right opportunities and the full potential to grow as a player. Because obviously we see players who are great, we see players who are good enough to play at the top level, but they're not given the chance, so they can't step it up again. We'll never know just how good their potential is because they're not given that opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. Well, this time last year, actually, Zero was still playing on PlayStation 4. It hadn't even started playing competitive, so it's literally been a rapid rise to the top. But enough about Zero for now. Rated, currently on this drone. It looks like this should be a simple dunk, but no, he's actually being stun grenaded, so he's going to back off. He's going to go for this juke play. Is he going to hit this dunk? Oh, he's going to jump over the head there and actually taken out by his own teammate in the end. But 8-5, Epsilon did start off this round by hitting a 1-pointer, so they did reduce the deficit to 1 point, but now it's been re-extended to 3.
Absolutely. Gataga pushing towards this ambulance. He does spot one. He is going to get taken down by Zero. Zero with a huge 2-piece to open the floodgates for him, as Rated is going to trade that back. Reedy again gets the kill on Madcat. Really pushing through this school right now. He wants to try and influence the sports as much as he possibly can. He does spot Joe out. He's pushing through the back. Spots Madcat again. Madcat not going to lose that battle, though. Shane and Zero really doing their job right now of trying to push the ball up the top of the map as Joe and Swanee is actually pushing towards this Jeep. Can he get the 1-pointer off? It is in the air. It does go in. 8-6 to Millenium now. 3 minutes 15 on the clock.
Yeah, big gun box coming out right now. Oh, but simply outnumbered there. Unlucky for Shane, but Reedy, can he pick up this 2-piece? If he does, then it should be a fairly simple relay for his Epsilon teammates, but it looks like, I think that's actually Joe backed off. Wise decision. Actually, Gataga's going to back him up as well. But whilst we were talking, a 1-pointer has gone into play. So Reedy pretty much distracted half of the team there from Millenium, and that was a little bit poor, to be honest with you. But Rated, actually on the counter-attack, should hit a dunk, and this is the second time we've seen that from Millenium. Every time Epsilon hit a point in their favor, actually Millenium goes straight on that reset, and they go, right, let's counter-attack. And they've hit it 2 times out of 2 thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Reedy's just, he obviously wants to prove himself. He had a bit of a wobbly 100k, to say the least. Like, there were moments he was absolutely on fire and some moments where he really wasn't kicking at full cylinders. And it just looks like in that situation, he was trying so hard to distract them and get those points off, which worked. He really didn't think about the counter-attack, which Rated was ready and primed for. The whole of Epsilon kind of went down in that situation, and it led to an easy 2 points. So he needs to kind of get himself back in. Once he's done his job, he needs to reset himself and get ready for the next wave of kills and the next wave of points, because that is why they are now 3 points behind again instead of 1.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Shane is going to pick up this drone. He's actually going to run it, so he's not going to play the reset, which is probably a wise decision as he is 3 points down with under 2 minutes to go. But I'm just going to briefly touch on Gataga right now. 7-26, which is over triple neg, actually almost quad neg. So I think he might be struggling with the connection, bearing in mind he is the only French player on this, or actually in this game.
Yeah,
so.
he had a really good, he had it like almost the perfect situation last night. If Hypergames hosted, obviously it's a French host, so he's doing fine. If the English host, he's going to be lagging with the Hypergames team anyway, so it's not really going to affect him that much. But this, we got 9 people from the UK against his French connection, so we're just going to have to see how that works out. And again, Millenium on the counter-attack.
Yeah, third time in a row, though. Counterattack is successful for Millenium. Every time Epsilon hit a point, Millenium hit back with a dunk of their own. But we have got a score update coming through right now, and I do believe it's VWS 1, Spirit Gaming 0. So start as expected. You've gone for a draw in that. I've gone for a VWS win, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But it's currently 9-12, 3 points in it. And the thing about Epsilon is they're playing aggressively there, that's fine. But when they hit a point, they don't run back to the drone. I'm going to see what Shane is going to do now. He's actually just going to go straight into school and not fall back here. So is the counter-attack going to be on again? Actually, I don't think so. Epsilon seem to be outslaying thus far. Rated's just picked up the drone, though. He's gone for the 15-second, and that's probably the best possible decision he could have made.
Yeah, they're basically running the clock down. There's only 45 seconds left, so as long as they can stop a 2-pointer going in the favor of Epsilon, it's pretty much sealed and done for them. And they're just making the kills here. This is more time in their favor. If they can pick the ball up, now they've got control of it. They can put that ball out once again for the reset, and Rated actually just going to opt to sit in this pit area just in case, run the clock down a little bit more, and that's pretty much going to seal the game in the favor of Millenium. Very good at... Oh, no, ball did not go out. Rated might regret this one. Zero's going all the way for this one.
No.
Can he get blocked?
Oh, no! Last-ditch kill there from Gataga. He's only got 10 kills, but that one was worth 30. That is pretty much won his team the game. Literally, final... honestly, I'm almost speechless because Gataga there, as I said, he's only got 10 kills in the game, and then he just goes so big when it matters. But that pretty much sums up Gataga's game style for this Millenium side. He does all the dirty work, all the important work, and he goes big when it matters. And he's just pretty much won Millenium that game. Or not pretty much, but, you know, if that dunk would have gone in, that would have been overtime and anything could have happened. But, yeah, we're going to watch Rated's kill cam right now, picking up a kill on Swanee in mid-street. And that's unlucky for Epsilon, but it just goes to show that this series could be pretty interesting, to say the least. I don't think it's going to go, you know, as heavily in Millenium's favor as some people thought.
Absolutely. I mean, it was literally there for Epsilon to take. Obviously, you've got to bear in mind that getting that ball all the way over to the portal and getting the 2-pointers is a difficult task, regardless of whether they've handed you the ball or not, considering how many of Millenium were actually up at the time. But Rated, have you ever just dropped something really fragile on the floor, and as it's falling, your face and goes a bit like, no! Rated's probably just had that moment to himself and was like, oh my god, what have I done? I've probably just completely thrown this map out of the water now. And
I think
luckily for him, that he had the entire Millenium team up to give him the backup that he needed, because it could have ended really badly.
I think if Millenium had lost that because of Rated's decision there, I wouldn't want to be in that party chat. I think Mad Cat would have probably just slapped him around the face a few times, even though they're not next to each other.
There's some hot heads in that party, to be fair, so I wouldn't want to be there when it kicks off.
The thing is that could have changed the momentum completely of the game if the teammates start arguing and stuff like that, based on a very simple error there from Rated. But he gets away with it. Gataga, team of 4. We were saying this last night. Millenium look like a squad, and they're covering each other when they make mistakes, and that's how you win the big games, and that's just by helping one another out when you make mistakes, and basically enabling your teammates to go and do the positive things as well. And that's what we sort of said also about Gataga, is his work is enabling Mad Cat to basically do what he wants, and when you give Mad Cat that freedom, he just destroys players, and that's exactly what I did in that game. Obviously, looking at the score, 36-23 in that game. Main Slayer, just short of a 40 bomb on Uplink. Not too bad at all.
Absolutely. I mean, Gataga 10 and 31. I think Mad Cat probably didn't have the freedom he wanted in that game, to be fair, with Gataga not really putting the shifts. Obviously, Uplink's one of those game modes. It's an interesting one because you don't need to have the most amazing kill to death to win the game, but kills are very important to it, because if you can't make the kills, it makes it very difficult for you to actually get the points towards the portal. You need to be able to make the kills, push the spawns out. For example, if we're pushing down the weaker side of that Detroit uplink, you need to be able to push them back into the yellow spawn or into the garage spawn, so you can get the drop on them and you can put that ball in as many times as you want to. And it seemed like Gataga, he was making that job a little bit more difficult towards the end of the game. Obviously, there was a decent start from Millenium, 4-0 up very, very quickly within the first minute, and then after that, it was a bit of a struggle. They were just relying on counter caps. I mean, there was about 3 counter caps in there because Epsilon just weren't ready for the reset, and because of that, they managed to win it. And you think, had they not got those counter caps in, Epsilon could have easily taken it.
But the thing is obviously Epsilon was so obsessed with actually getting those dunks in. Obviously, they started that game off 5-0 down, so they were always going to be on the back foot and always having to play almost overly aggressive. And because they did that, it just enabled Millenium to spawn back in, usually around the pit area. Obviously, jump over pit wall, grab the reset, or grab the drone from the reset, and then just hit a dunk of their own. And every single counter-attack, it was a dunk. If it would have been every single counter-attack with 1-pointer, Epsilon would have won the game. But Millenium, once again, making those correct decisions, knowing when to go for a dunk, knowing when to go for a one-pointer. And it's almost like we love Millenium here, but they're just playing very, very well thus far. They're making the right calls, but obviously now we're going to be moving to a DLC maps, so we're going to get the maps on screen for you right now to walk you through the rest of the series. So Drift Hardpoint up next. Are you looking forward to it?
I'm interested. Like this is one of the few DLC maps I've actually played a fair bit of, purely because it is a free map, I believe. So you can. It was released a long time ago. It was at Champs as well. So I played it in quite a few pub games of Hardpoint. It's quite a nice map for Hardpoint. I will not lie. There's a lot of mixture of indoors Hardpoints, a mixture of outdoor Hardpoints. So it's also one of those maps with a lot of obstacles in between. It's quite big, so there's going to be a lot of emphasis on being able to lock those spawns down for your team. A lot of rotations are going to be very crucial, being able to make sure you can kill enough in the hardpoints, because there are hardpoints that can be locked down very well if you are able to lock them down properly. And I'm excited to see what it goes. I think it's going to be a difficult one, because the slaying power of Millenium is astronomical at the moment.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes with this Epsilon team, it can be very hot and cold. I'm not too sure how they're going to do in the slaying department, because they did struggle yesterday in their game. So
yeah,
are they going to be able to compete with Millenium on the slaying scale? They did all right in that Uplink, but Uplink's one of those game modes, again, depends on which side of the fence you're sitting on when it comes to slaying power, whether it matters or not.
Yeah, well, one thing I'm quite interested to discuss very briefly is obviously the choice of maps here. So we've actually starting off, we're going Uplink, Hardpoint, Uplink, S&D, and then a Hardpoint at the very end. So it looks like there has been a little bit of tactical thinking from both sides here, as in which order they want to see it. And we're seeing the DLC maps chosen very, very early. And I think it'd be very easy to actually leave the DLC maps for later on. Try and get a little bit of momentum on the maps that you do know. And then obviously if you're not confident on the new maps, or you just want to kind of feel it out, save it towards the end, because you might have a little bit less pressure on you. But we're going to jump straight into Drift Hardpoint, or setting up as we speak. I'm feeling a little bit sad, because obviously it's a very Christmassy map. I like Christmas. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. It's T1 casting here at the GFin EE Pro League, talking about Christmas. But yeah, we're going to jump on board with Zero. Zero had a really solid game for Epsilon, it has to be said. And yeah, let's see if he can build on that momentum, because he doesn't look out of place thus far.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that Santa brings us a very good game right now for this Christmas time, as we're going to see Zero pushing through this top half of the mountain. He's actually going to go and wrap right round. And I think Epsilon have opted to put this second, because they're potentially thinking they may be not going to win the uplink, considering it is on the Millenium host. But also the fact you've got to remember, Shane and Swanee, both played in America, have probably played this map quite a lot.
Yeah, 100%. The thing is they probably played more Drift S&D, but they still have that map awareness. They still know the map, how to play it, and it's going to be interesting to see, you know, which team actually has the advantage even going into this. As I said, Millenium earlier was saying, look, we need scrims on this map. We need scrims on DLC. We are struggling a little bit. So, but I'm going to jump on board with Rated now, as he is currently in the first hardpoint here. Slight advantage, obviously, towards Millenium, 23-3, 20-second advantage thus far, and it looks like he's under fire from a distance. So Madcap picking up 2 pieces for fun right now on a 3 streak as well, 5 and 2 currently. And well, as soon as I start saying anything nice about him, taken out by Shane from behind, but not a great start from Epsilon again. However, second hardpoint time. Oh, big gun battle there from Reedy, and he's going to have support as well. So that was a big moment of the game.
Absolutely. Reedy lying on this second hardpoint, just waiting for anyone to move. Madcat's coming around the back. He is going to get double teamed there and taken down. Madcat just having that freedom to kill and anchor as much as he wants to now. He's really been given that license to kill, almost James Bond-esque. And Reedy just lying in his hardpoint. They did a good job of making sure they got the rotation. Obviously, that first was just scrap time. It's about who's got the better spawn and who can just make the better use of that time. It's a very difficult hardpoint to break. And obviously, we know the whole Millenium team can play that OBJ very well if they want to. And I think Epsilon, their OBJ players are quite significantly obvious who they are. So, whereas Millenium have got probably more versatile players, Epsilon are very traditional in the sense that this person does that role and that's basically it. So we'll have to see if that pays out in the long run, but I'm going to have to say Millenium definitely got the upper hand in this one.
Yeah, well, obviously, whilst you were talking, actually, Epsilon was setting up on that hard point pretty well. They reduced the deficit, obviously, in the hard point. It's all square at 38-38, but it looks like Millenium are going to re-extend that lead, obviously. This current hardpoint a little bit small, a little bit action-packed, so it looks like a couple more subs are going to be coming out, as obviously it's going to be up close and personal. Kill's being contested here. Oh, Joe, beautiful kill there. Looks like it's going to be contested again, though. Looks like Millenium are currently just, not Millenium, sorry, Epsilon, that's just flooding through that window, but great covering here from Millenium's teammates. Here we go, another gun battle for Joe, and right now Joe just looks pretty comfortable, obviously with his sub, up close and personal, just picking up fairly simple kills.
Yeah, this ski shop hardpoint, it seems like if you rotate for it and you get those spawns down, it is so easy to lock it down. It's almost like the blue hardpoint on Biolab. Once you're in there, it's just so difficult to break it down. Even then, it's so much smaller. There's not a lot of places to hide, so it's pretty obvious where you're going to be, but at the same time, you know where people are going to be entering through. There's only 2 points you can get through, well, if you include the window as well, which just seems to be such a hospital situation to be in, because people like Mad Cat are just roaming the streets, just cleaning up like some sort of street cleaner.
Well, in the previous hardpoint, Millenium got 48 seconds out of a possible 60, so it looks like Millenium, they've done their homework, they know the rotations, but once again, Millenium first on the rotation again, so the game is starting to be dragged away from this Epsilon
See
side.
how far they're spawning out as well. They're spawning on the second hardpoint.
Yeah, 100%. Well, the thing is they look a little bit split up as well. You got obviously a player, I think, coming from the left here. Big gun battle coming out. Swanee wins it. That was a big gun battle though from Swanee, as he was on his own, so he breaks hill control, and that's what we're going to jump aboard right now. Obviously on a 2-streak thus far. Can he pick up the 3rd kill? He's just been stunned. Oh no! I thought he picked up that kill there, but he actually got the assist. Going to turn around, try and pick up this kill. Does pick up that. Is he going to pick up a 2-piece? He does pick up the 2-piece. He's still alive. So Swanee going beast mode at the moment. Picks up yet another kill. Honestly, single-handedly defending this hard point. He is on a 6th streak right now. I'm so glad we decided to jump on board with him. Actually challenging with a sub. Wins that gun battle against Mad Cat. Swanee is winning everything right now on Drift Hardpoint.
I'm getting major flashbacks to Ron Burgundy's famous comment. If you don't know who I am, I'm a pretty big deal. This is Swan Dog on the rampage right now. Still on an 8-kill streak. Make that, no, not going to get the 9-kill streak, but really put his team back into contention right now. They're still trailing by quite a few points, but it's up to him and Zero to really put down this AR pressure that Mad Cat is putting down right now, because Mad Cat is just on a absolute tear right now with this AR. He looks so dominant with it, and this map is all about holding the spawns. It's all about the AR pressure, and it's just not going Epsilon's way right now as the dynamic map event is about to come in.
Yeah, screen is shaking. I can't see a single thing because there's an avalanche apparently. But anyway, big gun battle there from Zero, and obviously that goes in favor of Epsilon, so he's going to be pushing into that hill. He's going to be using those Semtex as well. Mad Cat be pushing in from this avalanche, taken out straight away though. I didn't even think Mad Cat had spotted Zero, but Shane on the hard point. Going to try and wrap up this scrap time, but it looks like Millenium are going to be first to that rotation.
Absolutely. Shane actually using the AR, not really known for his AR abilities, and it's really proven right now. 10 and 16, not particularly in the best situations, but it looks like ARs are extremely dominant on this map when it comes to making sure you can relieve the hill pressure for your team. And Kataga just watching out onto this second hardpoint spawn is going to jump in it and contest for the time. He is taken down by a grenade, probably should have used his trophy system. Rated pushing through the street. The spawns are starting to go a little bit in the favor of Epsilon, but still they're trying to break through and see what they can do. Millenium in control of the hardpoint. Reedy's going to get taken down. Also, we know how good Rated is with the AR as well. Another versatile player, and as I said before, the versatility of Millenium is just looking too strong right now, and Epsilon really can't contest with what Millenium are bringing.
100%. There's just flashes of brilliance from Epsilon, but they're not being very consistent at the moment. Saying that, the deficit has been reduced to around 50 seconds or so, but as soon as I say that, Millenium straight in the hill should wrap up the scrap time. But at the moment, Epsilon just don't look particularly comfortable on this map. We've obviously highlighted Shane 13 and 18 thus far, but obviously he's still getting in those he's at 31 engagements thus far, so he's not playing too badly.
Spawns, they're so far out right now. Like, if you're not holding those spawns, you are absolutely done for, it seems, in some of the hard points, and you really need to make sure you're getting it. And I think this is going to be one of those few maps where a traditional anchor that we've seen in previous Call of Duties is so crucial. I think on some of the other hard points, like Detroit, for example, it's beneficial to have an anchor, but you can get away with not having it. As long as everyone's doing their job of rotating in to hold those spawns, you can coordinate it enough so you don't actually need a dedicated anchor, which is why we see some of the pro teams not necessarily have that dedicated anchor in it. Right now, it looks like Millenium are just doing such a better job at holding the spawns, because those spawns are diabolical.
Yeah, well, Joe actually ran out of ammunition there, so he was just holding his combat knife going, guys, I've got no bullets, but he gets taken out from behind. Anyway, but Millenium looks like they're dragging this game away from Epsilon, sorry, yet again. So Epsilon, it looks like they're really not comfortable on this map, and we said before this game started, obviously, with Swanee and Shane in particular, they should be more accustomed to this map, but it doesn't look like they actually are. But I'm going to jump on board with Shane as he is currently on the next hard point, and this is obviously a close quarters.
Yeah, he shouldn't be rocking a bow in this situation, to be honest with you.
Yeah, using a bow from the close range distance. I don't think he's actually winning many gun battles, to be fair to him, but we'll see how it goes. Hills now being contested, pre-fires coming in, but obviously up against a sub, you're never going to win that gun battle unless you absolutely melt someone. But Kataga, much better game than the last respawn, 10 and 30, and now he's 21 and 25, so better consistency. And, I just want to take a very brief look at the defense column. So, obviously, 4 defense here from Reedy, so he's leading the way, but it's very consistent thus far from both sets of players, but no one actually going wild. Shane hasn't got any defense, only player in the lobby to not have a single defend, but obviously caps-wise, Epsilon actually have more caps down this Millenium side, but it looks like Millenium are just doing better to hold off from this aggression.
It's exactly it. They're just holding the actual hardpoint a lot better. Yeah. They don't really need to contest it. They don't need to defend much. They don't really need to capture it much. As you said, bringing up the defense cost. Can you bring that up for me one more time?
Yeah, no worries. Oh, wrong one. There we go.
So as you can see here, there's no one who's really doing the solid OBJ work for this Millenium squad.
Yeah.
But it's so heavily in the favor. Like Reedy really dominating that hard point right now with the 9 captures. But it's not really leading to anything. You look at the score of points. Millenium are just holding the spawns better. They're holding the hills better. Yeah. And it looks like Epsilon are just so overwhelmed by what's going on. You can take it off now. I'm sure everyone's getting a bit annoyed that we're looking at the scoreboard, but they looked so overwhelmed. And the problem we had at the 100k with Epsilon at points is I hate to bring this up because it's never good to dwell on the past sometimes, but Reedy in particular during one of the games, I believe against Elevate, he had 14 captures in the end, but obviously his KD was not the best.
Yeah.
And it just seems that instead of actually coordinating pushes together and holding the hills together, he's just throwing himself in there to try and contest as much as possible. And obviously he's spawning out when he's dying, and it's just causing spawns not to go in Epsilon's favor. And it doesn't look like they're too comfortable on this map. And they're probably going to be very happy to get this one out of the way because it is definitely one they need to go back to the drawing board and work on. Yeah,
but once again, I'm going to jump on board with Madcat. 37 and 30, main slate of the lobby yet again. The consistency from Madcat the past couple of days is, as I said, he's almost been faultless in a lot of ways. And
he's still the reason he's renowned for being the best in the EU.
Yeah, 100%. Well, he's 2 kills away now from dropping 40. He didn't drop 40 in the previous uplink. The dropping 40 in uplink is particularly difficult. There's his 39th kill. Is he going to drop 40 here? Currently on a 2 streak as well. 16 seconds remaining. Is he going to drop 40? He doesn't really get a prize or anything, but I'm just interested to see if he can get it. Gunbar coming out from a distance.
I'll give him a Kinder Egg if he gets a 40.
6.
Everyone loves
5,
Kinder Eggs.
4. Kinder Egg for Madcat. There we go. But the thing is, we're laughing and joking right now, but that really didn't come across like a very close game, to be honest with you. Millenium always looked comfortable, apart from when Swanee went into absolute beast mode and just destroyed all of Millenium pretty much and defended a hill on his own. It was just flashes of brilliance, which what we said last game. Flashes of brilliance from Epsilon, but not the consistency that Millenium have got. And obviously, Madcat obviously dropping 40. Then the consistency once again from Millenium, 33, 28, and 28. And obviously, you compare that down to the Epsilon side. They're all kind of a little bit fluctuating on the kills department. I think Shane finished with 23 kills, which is obviously a big difference from, I think it's Swanee with 37 kills at the top there. But still early days in this series. Still time for Epsilon to get back into this. Up next, another DLC map. And this is going to be Parliament Uplink, if I'm not mistaken. I'm very excited to see this map. It's been the first time I've casted that DLC map in particular, so I'm not really sure. We were looking at this before we went live and we were saying, which is the best way to approach this map? Obviously, is it better off to lock down the mid-map area, obviously the massive building, or is it actually just better to sit on the reset, almost like glassing comeback is what you said? And to be honest with you, I think that's probably the best approach.
Absolutely. I can't think of what map it is, but there's definitely a map that's structured very similar, where you've got the actual objective way out on the wing and the 2 captures. It must have been a capture flag. I can't remember what one it was. You've got the 2 at the either ends. You've got this big open plain field during the middle. And yeah, holding that objective area on the wing is probably the best way to play it. It's almost like glass on comeback, where you want to hold that. That's where you're going to probably spawn the majority of the time. The spawns it was difficult to tell because obviously I was not only playing against bots, but I was also broadcasting against bots, so it was a little bit difficult to tell how the spawns worked on that map. They looked a little bit erratic, but obviously some bots just sit still in their spawns, so it's not really it's not really a good way to tell how the spawns work. But it just looked like you want to hold that objective place. You want to have drone control, because obviously in any uplink game, that's how you win, is by getting that drone and having control of it. It doesn't look like a map that's going to cater too well to 2-pointers. You're not going to get a lot of them. The map is far too open for that. But there are a lot of 1-pointer opportunities, a lot of sneaky ones, and if you can combine a couple of boosts together, you can usually be able to toss in for a 1. And you have to be very careful on this map as well, because if you do die, like your whole team goes down, it's not so much a wrap, it's just a run straight through the middle of the map and get yourself some points on the go. And you've got to be very careful. Your life is actually so much more dependent on this map for Uplink than it is on any other one.
Yeah, and one thing I want to briefly say is obviously Epsilon, if they lose this map, they've only got the opportunity to get 1 point out of this series, and if Millenium win this map, they'll just be 1 map away from actually wrapping up all 3 points, and that would be a huge result for Millenium. And we said this last night briefly as well, if you weren't watching, that if Millenium win tonight, then they essentially become favourites to win the whole league, and it's only been 2 games over 2 days, and it's scary to think that Epsilon's title credentials can be essentially washed away after 2 days, but obviously a little bit too early to suggest that. But as you said earlier, 21 points up for grabs. Dropping 6 after the first week is obviously not going to help their chances all too much. So big map for Epsilon. They need to get on the board sooner rather than later, and ideally they need 3 points, to be honest with you.
I think they really could have done with that confidence. I was expecting more. I think Swanee did his job as best he could. Obviously, he wasn't really holding the spawns to the best of the team's ability because of how dramatically different the scores were. But with how things were going on, it was. We'll take a quick look at this replay right now that's on the screen. So Swanee, this is where Swanee's starting to go off. This is what they could potentially do. But Swanee is your main AR. He's the guy who's watching your flank and holding your spawns and killing anything in between. He should not be in here doing this OBJ work.
Especially with an AR.
Yeah, with an AR as well. This is not... It's an AR-dominated map, but in the hill, you should at least have a submachine gun in there. And you can just see how late they are on the rotate as well, because he's not only holding this hard point down for the team for the final seconds, but they're so slow on this rotate as well. And that's what seemed to really hinder Epsilon in that one, is they didn't have any sort of form of rotation going on. It really hindered them. Their OBJ work wasn't good enough, obviously, because they kept spawning out so far. It just looked like they weren't getting enough hill time. And I'm hoping in this one there's a little bit more coordination when it comes to working as a team, because in that one, I don't really like to put teams down because obviously they're far, far better than me, but it was quite poor.
Yeah. What's obviously the thing which bothered me a little bit more was the fact that obviously you got Swanee going off in a hill, pretty much single-handedly destroying everyone in a hill. But obviously then there's about 8 seconds left. I think it was about 10 seconds left.
There's no rotate.
Well, there's 10 seconds left, but there's still 2 players from Epsilon getting scrap time. If you've got 2 players getting scrap time on any hard point, there's always going to be question marks raised, because it only enables 2 players from obviously the same side to make that rotate. And if Millenium have essentially just been taken out at the previous hardpoint, they're going to be spawning close to the next hardpoint, which means you could essentially have 4 from Millenium set up on the next hardpoint up against 2 rotating. At least if you've got 3 players going, then they've got a bit of a chance. Obviously, you just require 1 player to pick up a cheeky 2-piece or something like that, but obviously it kind of proved crucial, that hardpoint in the end. I think Millenium went on to get most of that time in the next hardpoint because they just had the 4-man setup. And Swanee, although he went huge and unbelievable plays, we still had another player from Epsilon just getting scrap time behind. So 2 players, fighting for 8 seconds, essentially. It is a little bit sloppy, but this is what the DLC maps bring out in some of the teams. It does bring out a few mistakes, and over the course of this league, teams are going to get a lot better. So this is obviously prime opportunity for teams to really cause a few upsets and cause a few shocks. Unfortunately, Epsilon couldn't go big on this occasion, but there's still time in this league for them to learn that map, all that kind of stuff, and who knows, they could have spent most of their time on Parliament rather than Drift, because maybe they felt confident on Drift, because obviously we've said Shane and Swanee.
They should have known that map a lot better. I think Shane is clearly not comfortable with that map, purely because of how AR dominated it is. And if I see Shane using an AR, I'm just like, Shane, what are you doing? You're not an AR guy. You don't really use an AR. You're more SMG orientated. And I've seen him a couple times use the AR, and he hasn't done too bad. But he needs to find a way for the SMG to work for him on that map, because it was peculiar that he was sitting in the ski shop hardpoint, which I think was number 3 in the rotation, with an AR. And obviously Millenium knowing when to switch between an AR and SMG, because we've said it, how versatile they are and how they can do anything they want. They can all pitch in to do the same roles, basically. It was just peculiar for him to have it. Obviously, he might have come off that last hard point with an AR where he's actually still got that AR. He's gone for the rotate and had to jump in. And it was not the it wasn't a very well calculated game by Epsilon.
Well, I'll defend Shane a little bit here. I'll kind of try and defend Shane here because obviously when we were on board with him, he was using an AR, but then as soon as he died, he switched to a sub. He was like, I've just been destroyed in this hill. I need to pull out a sub. He actually pulled out a sub, went back into that hill, picked up a 2-piece. However, when he switched to a sub, it looked like Zero switched to an AR, and Zero pushed into that hill with an AR and got destroyed straight away as well. So it was there were a few mistakes from Epsilon, as we said, but obviously it's easy for us to sit up here. We've got broadcaster mode. It just looks so simple for us. So obviously these players are world class. They're ridiculous. But from our perspective, trying to suggest things that teams could have done a little bit differently and where they kind of went wrong. So don't worry, we're not trying to roast anyone or anything like that before my Twitter goes, oh, stop roasting people. But obviously, honest, every time.
Stop roasting people. You suck.
Yeah, I know.
You're so bad. That's why you're casting and not playing.
Yeah, well, that's probably true, to be fair. I've got no gun skill. But anyway, that's a rant for a different time. But yeah, Drift Hardpoint, it's been and done. Parliament Uplink. Now, do you think that Epsilon can mount a little bit of a fight back from this map? It's really hard for us to judge because we've never seen these teams compete on this map or even seen this map played on, to be honest with you. Obviously, so far in this league, it's only day 2. So, predictions-wise, I know it's going to be difficult, but do you think Epsilon can mount a fight back?
With Parliament, it looks like a map that is very AR dominant. It's very difficult for the SMGs to really work it. I'll be surprised if you see more than 2 SMGs at any time. I wouldn't even be surprised if you saw 1 SMG on this map because it is so open and there are so many lines of sights that it just, unless you've got the most amazing SMG shot and you've got the most amazing presence and positioning with an SMG, you're just not going to have a very good time with it. So for me, I think that it's probably going to be a Millenium win again. I think that Rated and Madcat are going to pull out those ARs. Gataga's probably going to be rocking a submachine gun. Joe as well, rocking a submachine gun. They're probably going to play it a lot better than the Epsilon lineup. I would like to think that Epsilon have got something in the bag because obviously we've got Shane and Swanee who have played in the US. I don't know if they played this map specifically out there in the US, but it's their time to actually level the playing field now, shake the cobwebs of not really having the most experience playing together and actually have an almost neutral playing field, which is what this DLC is almost doing because the practice is not particularly in the favor of any of the teams. So they could really make an upset here, whether they regardless of whether they know the map or not. And it's probably going to be them that after this week, they're going to sit down and say, all right, let's watch back some of the VODs, check how we've done, and see what we can improve on, because there's definitely room for improvement here. Yeah,
well, I'm going to say Epsilon, I think they're going to take this map, and the reason I say that is because, obviously, in the Detroit Uplink, very, very close game between the two. Now, obviously, the maps are on your screen currently, so we start off with Detroit Uplink, and it literally came down to Gataga going so big in the last 3 seconds and stopping a last-ditch dunk from Epsilon. So Epsilon have got a decent Uplink game, no disputing that whatsoever, but Millenium started that game so hot, 5-0 after literally, I think it was about 60 seconds, and that's just because they knew how to work school, they knew kind of how the map worked, they got the relay going, and I think trying to do that on Parliament, they're not really going to have much luck at all, to me. There's no obvious relay. I mean, you said there's a lot of one-pointer spots, but when it comes to dunking, there's no obvious relay that we've spotted thus far. Obviously, we then went to Detroit Hardpoint, Millenium fairly convincingly on the last DLC map, so they've got some momentum, if you want to call it momentum, for DLC knowledge. But after this, we'll be going back to the original map, so to speak, Riot S&D, Biolab S&D, and then Solar Hardpoint. But this map, crucial for Epsilon, need to take it, in my view, if they want to have any... Well, it's not, in my opinion. They need to take this map if they want to have any hope of finishing with 3 points at the end of today. However, can they do it? There's only one way to find out, I suppose.
Absolutely, and that's by getting into the game and seeing how these two teams go to war. Obviously, just to give you a mention, you might have seen it flash up at the bottom of the screen, that we do have all the social media available. Let us know what you think of the DLC maps, the two teams, who you think is going to win, anything you want to. Be sure to tweet at us at Gfinity and use the hashtag EU Pro League. But we're going to get this game underway very shortly. Millenium versus Epsilon. Millenium 2-0 up in this series. It's Parliament. It's London, baby. Let's see what these two teams have got for us.
Yeah, well, it is London, but I don't think it's a fair...
I'm hoping we'll see the Gfinity Arena.
Well, it's not a fair representation of London because everything's just on fire. Yeah. It's just... it doesn't really happen, to be fair. But yeah, anyway, I think we've been casting together too long. We're starting to talk... Yeah, anyway.
You want to go shopping afterwards?
Yeah. Jump on board with Madcat here. It's getting more romantic by the second. So Madcat, you know, probably the player to watch in this game yet again. Map, we've already said, it is pretty AR-centric, and as soon as I say that, Swanee does take up Madcat, and that's probably the key... I can't get my words out at the moment. It's probably the crucial gun battle of this game. Swanee versus Mad Cat with that AR.
Can you do a quick flick of everyone? Because I don't think there's a single SMG out. Everyone is using an AR.
Yeah, all of Epsilon using ARs.
Just shows how dominated this map is by
even
ARs.
Joe using an AR. Yeah, every single player in this lobby using an AR.
Oh, wow,
so that was a great call from you.
Oh, Rated. 2 kills on the bounce. Can he spot 0?
Oh.
Get the third? No, he's actually going to back off. So you can start to see how the spawns work. You seem to spawn on the corner of the actual objective area of this map when the ball is in the neutral position. So we'll have to see if one of these teams does go for an OE. It can be very dangerous because if you lose control of this map, you will get punished for the 1-pointers. Obviously, it's a little bit easier to recover from a 2-point, but getting back from a position you've already moved from is extremely, extremely difficult to recover from.
And one thing we have to say is obviously where the drone is located, every time you try and jump over that wall, if you get taken out, it's just going to reset instantly because it's just going to drop in the water, and we've seen that twice already this game, so I think that's going to be a prevalent thing we're going to see. I don't know if there's a 15-second delay on this map as well. I haven't seen anything, which means it'll be interesting to see how the teams play it when they come to wasting time. So
I imagine if you throw it on, there must be some roofs out there that you can probably chuck it on top of.
It'd be interesting to see if a team knows about a 15-second delay and if they've actually done their homework on that front. But currently on board, we're Rated. Looks like he's probably had the best start to this game thus far. But saying that, Swanee and Zero is 7 and 3 each. So not bad at all. But after 2 minutes, 0-0. Very much expected, it has to be said, from a DLC map.
Yeah, Zero and Swanee really going ham right now. They're having a great game. This is looking like it's going to actually suit them a lot better in this. Swanee especially, probably one of the most fluent and consistent ARs you're going to find in the European scene. Mad Cat not having the hottest start right now, does manage to get some bragging rights on Swanee there. There goes for the 1-point. Shane just narrowly missing that, and that's what I'm saying. It is so AR dependent. It is so difficult to actually break through and go for a 2-pointer. You're just going to see people trying to hit these 1-pointers. And we've actually got someone on the overextend there. He's actually going to get taken down. I believe it was, in fact, Mad Cat who went for that. And the Guitar is going to push over to this ball. He's actually going to stay underneath just to catch him off surprise. He does challenge from Shane. It's traded away by Reedy. Swanee as well getting the kill. Now, this is the time for Epsilon to do something. You just see how difficult it is to recover once you have died. You just leave the rest of your team so stranded on the ball. It's so difficult to actually make anything happen for yourself. So I wouldn't be surprised if we really don't see many points going in the favor. It looks like you've just got to hope you can take them down in a burst.
But Rated is looking pretty comfortable on this map, it has to be said. He's picking up easy kills, has to be said. If he gets over this wall as well, he's going to get challenged straight away, though. Is he going to get challenged? Oh, look at this spot from
This looks
Rated
like
here.
It's been practiced. He's going for the 1-pointer. It is wide, though.
Yeah, but the drone is still in place, so the dunk is still on for Rated. He picks up the drone. He's got extra health. Is he going to go back to... Oh, is he going to be able to get the dunk? Oh,
yes,
just about gets the dunk there. Great covering there from Kataga and Mad Cat. So 2-0 in favor of Millenium, but Rated right now.
This is actually where the bleed can get really bad, because as you can see, they are spawning right on that right-hand wing, and because of how far they're pushed in their spawn, they're blocking the spawns, pushing them out. So this is where some relaying can really go in the favor of Millenium. As I said, that 1 point went in their favor, and they have got a very firm lead on this.
Yeah, but it looks like that relay has just been broken by Epsilon. Reedy currently stood in the corner, not sure what he's doing. He's doing a Tony JS by the look of it. Zero currently 12 and 7. It was
Someone
beautiful.
asked me on Twitter, what was wrong with Tony yesterday? I go, I don't know. He just threw his toys out the pram or something.
Yeah, pretty much. It was pretty entertaining when he got to pass the ball. It was almost like his life support. But yeah, as I said, still on board with Zero, 13 and 8. So not a bad game from him thus far, as I've already said. But I'm going to jump on board with Joe here. Used to, I'm not, because he's actually been taken out. He's used to using a sub pretty much in every map mode combination, but he's actually being forced to use an AR, and it looks like it's not working for him overly well. But that's probably to be expected, to be fair. But come on board with Reedy now. Currently on that drone. Can Epsilon get the first points of the game on the board?
Oh, no,
he's just short of
you gotta go for the one.
No. Oh, dear. Oh, but Zero's here. Zero's here. He needs to win this game.
No.
Oh, Joe goes big again. So, I mean, we've just seen a piece of beauty from Rated, making the correct decision-making, knowing when to go for a dunk, knowing when to go for a 1-pointer, and we've just seen the opposite with regards to Reedy. He was just so occupied on getting that dunk that he just threw away a very simple 1-pointer, but we're going to see if that actually affects the result of this game at the end. But after round 1, is this map playing as you expected?
I don't know, sort of how I expected, but for some reason I thought there'd be more points. I think that teams have just not been able to get towards the ball and set themselves up for the kill, the wave kill respawn, if that makes sense. So basically they're getting one set of kills, pushing them back, then getting the second lot, and they can start throwing for the 1-pointers and getting a few more points. And it looks like everyone's just so spread out and caught off by how the spawns are so so far away from where the actual objective is. It's just not quite working out for them. I know a lot of people don't really like to listen to what I have to say. The pro players probably think I chat so much rubbish during these commentaries, and they probably don't even watch them back. But I would say that here's a little bit of it's a bit of a scrubby tactic, I suppose. But it's I'm a big fan of the AK-12. Like, yeah. I've made that very evident across the time that I play this Call of Duty. And for those who are maybe struggling with ARs on this map, because we haven't seen a single submachine gun on this map at all yet, is maybe bring out an AK-12, because it's got a good rate of fire, it's got good damage, basically no recoil whatsoever. I mean, a toddler could use that gun, it's so easy. So, and because it is online, you can get away with guns like that. So maybe for those, not going to point any names out, maybe Shane, but... not a dig or anything, but he's clearly not comfortable with an AR, at least from my eyes, and I think you could possibly agree to that. That maybe he should switch to something that works for him, or bring out a sniper if you want. Maybe make some picks, because one kill in just like that with a sniper, and that's a 7-second respawn time. Is it 7 seconds?
I think it's 5.
5 or 7. Yeah, 5. So that's a long time in Call of Duty time. So. Yeah.
No,
doing something like that, maybe a cheesy tactic.
Yeah, I agree with you to an extent, but I disagree with the AK-12. I'm personally not a big fan of it. I think we're going to use the term which you've correctly termed, cheese gun, HBR perhaps.
Yeah, that
Getting
one
a HBR, the range on the HBR as well. Fire rate is a little bit slower, but obviously the distance, obviously this map, you don't really have many up-close and personal gun battles. But right now, it's definitely apparent that Epsilon needs to change something up, as they're currently 4-0 down. They conceded a 1-pointer pretty much straight away into the second half, and currently on board with Reedy's be tagged up from behind. It gets absolutely destroyed there by Gataga. Jump on board with Joe now. He's picked up the drone, and it looks like a pass could be on. No, pass isn't on. Oh, I thought he just actually jumped off the map there, but looks like Joe... Is he going to go for the juke here? No, he's going to go for this spot here.
This is definitely interesting.
It looks like Millenium have actually done their homework. Oh, no.
Needs a bit more practice there.
But still, that was actually a good intention there from Joe. Going for these cheeky little spots. It looks like Millenium have actually been grinding this map. And this is what we keep saying about Millenium. They look prepared for Season 2 of this league. And then, you know, you're speaking about Hyper Games. They weren't prepared. Apart from, obviously, Skyrise with Maxi and his ridiculous sniper shots. But, obviously, right now, Epsilon, they just kind of look a little bit... not lost, but they look like they're playing for the kills and not playing for the actual portal.
Yeah, Uplink is one of those game modes where you.
As soon as I say that, though.
If you play for those, you've got to play for those kills, and the basic premise of Uplink is go to the ball, get kills, pick up the ball, put it in the portal.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it?
It does sound that simple, and that's how Epsilon are trying to play it right now. They're just trying to make kills and hope that they kill them enough that they can get points on the board for themselves. But Millenium look like they've got some sort of tactic as to what they're doing here. They look like they're very aware of what's going on. But having said that, I believe that was Zero who managed to pick that kill up.
Yeah, Zero again here, so obviously 2 points for him. It's 2 1-pointers as well, so it looks like Zero starting to play very well. 23 and 16 as well, main slayer of the lobby alongside Madcat. That is no easy feat. Currently on board with Shane, 14 and 22, 15 and 22 now. As we've already said, it seems to be struggling with that AR in today's series. However, there's only 2 points in it with 1 minute 44 to go, so Epsilon are still in this. Should be an easy jump there for Shane. He's going to be under pressure though. Is he going to be using this map? Yes, he's going to be doing exactly what Rated did earlier. Reedy's going to trade up that kill though on Joe. Reed's going to pick up a second kill there. I'm just going to try and find him, jump on board with him. He's going to pick up a third. Should we go a third on Madcat? No, Madcat goes big. And Rated here on the drone. He's going to waste some time, just throw that out to be reset.
I've just thought how naughty that spot is, because you can't really challenge it. It's basically off the map for anyone trying to challenge that ball. You can't really get a proper object. You have to sacrifice yourself to make sure you get that kill. And if you don't, you've kind of screwed your team over. You're going to concede a point, because what he's doing is he's basically sitting behind there with the ball, waiting for his team to come and clean up the kills while they're distracted watching the ball, because that's what Uplink does. It makes people into ball watchers. See what Joe's doing here. He's trying to distract them. He's definitely practiced that 1 pointer.
Oh, he's hit it this time, though.
And he's trying to hit that 1 pointer. It basically gives him enough cover and enough time to, if he has been tagged up, regenerate that health, get as many boosts off as he possibly can to get that cheesy 1 pointer in. And that's what I said this map is going to be all about, is cheesy 1 pointers.
Yeah, we've only seen 1 dunk in this map thus far, so that pretty much summarizes it.
And that came from the scrappiest thing I've ever seen.
No, 100%. But Millenium using these cheeky 1 point spots. Looks like they've been on YouTube looking up these cheeky 1 point spots, GB tips and tricks. But
I love a good video like that.
But in fairness, it's working for Millenium. And Epsilon, yeah, they may be getting some kills, and I think right now they're just about outslaying Millenium. But it's like they haven't really done the same research, so to speak. And I can't speak for the players or anything like that, but from what I'm seeing, it looks like Millenium are more prepared than Epsilon. And this is going to be the end of the result, which means Millenium are guaranteed at least 1 point here, which means if Epsilon lose the next map, they will be going home today with 0 points.
Yeah, I don't really want to criticize anything in that game because it's probably the first time a lot of those have really given a proper competitive feel to the map, and what can I say? They probably played it better than I would have done. So I've got no real comments.
I would have.
It's just unlucky that they obviously haven't had enough time to prepare for it, and I'm sure over the next week they're going to be practicing these DLC maps as much as possible.
Yeah, Madcat main slate of the lobby again, 3 times in a row after 3 maps played. Sometimes when a player's in that vein of form, you just can't really do anything, to be honest with you. If a player is playing so well, I mean, you can try and shut him down, but it's always difficult. But saying that, as you said, first time playing a DLC map, and, you know, it looks like the team who were more prepared are just going to walk away victorious, and that's exactly what happened in that game. But now, moving back to the original maps, and now Epsilon can kind of shine, so to speak. They can actually get back into this, and they are going to have to win 3 maps on the bounce. But this is a roster full of top quality players. Swanee, one of the best players that EU has produced, in my view. Shane, also one of the best players around in the EU. Zero, played very, very well thus far today. Reedy made some unbelievable plays himself, and also very experienced in the EU scene as well. So this Epsilon side, you can never, ever write them off. So they will need to win 3 maps on the bounce. It will be difficult. However, 2 S&Ds coming up next. Pace is going to be slowed down. Maybe Madcat isn't going to be as influential. However, last night we perhaps saw a few weaknesses from Millenium up in the Skyrise map, but questions have to be kind of raised there. Was it just because it was a DLC map? Because obviously on the recovery, it was a hot 6-0 against Hypergames. Bearing in mind, they were trying to 360 with XMGs and stuff, so perhaps that isn't the most incredible feat. However, next map up next. What is it?
Search and Destroy Riot.
Riot.
Millenium's host.
Well, we both like a bit of Riot. Obviously, it's a very, very big map. We obviously don't need to explain to you guys on stream. You've obviously probably seen Riot quite a lot. Obviously, I think the sniper player is going to be pretty influential in this map. In particular, Kataga, I think, is probably a player to watch off spawn. His picks tend to be pretty decent. Saying that, Epsilon have got some firepower of their own. Yeah,
Millenium, in the recovery they played last night, they look very structured. They look like they knew exactly. They had practiced it very well. They obviously had some strats. Maybe it was that Millenium, well, the core 3 of Millenium took their strats that they had from Epsilon, and they've just implemented Kataga into filling the role that Reedy used to do, or something similar to that.
Yeah.
So, and then the Skyrise map, they looked like they had some sort of clue, but again, Skyrise is not one of those maps that has a lot of structure in terms of putting strategies into use. It's very much pick heavy. As the attacking team, it's a nightmare because you can't really get the bomb down properly. You've literally got to hope that someone peeks at the right time and you manage to make a pick and you can push as a team. It is literally a stick as a team, otherwise you're probably going to lose it kind of map. So, and I actually quite like it because with a lot of the other maps you can get away with some dodgy things that you may not necessarily gotten away with in previous Call of Duties, and I think some people can attest to that. It might not be the most fun Search and Destroy map, but it's a little bit more even across the board in terms of the gunfights. But this one, Riot, another open map, however structured, it suits this game very well, and I like the way it plays out for the entire majority of the thing. And I'm expecting that I actually think Epsilon could take this. I think if they're ever going to take a map tonight, it's got to be the Search and Destroy, especially on Riot, because they played it many times. We've seen that Millenium or the old Epsilon team, they struggled a little bit on Riot S&D. They had some moments. Obviously, they got unfortunate on a couple of occasions last at the 100K event. So we're going to have to see how they get on in this one. But for me, I'm going to say this is probably Epsilon's best chance to get a map. I obviously put Millenium to win 5-1. So I'm going to have to say that I want to go with Epsilon to win this one.
Yeah, well, I thought I was someone going to win the last map, so I feel like I'm jinxing them. So I'm going to say Millenium should pick up this map. But I think it's going to be... I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a round 11, though, to be honest with you. I think...
It's going to be a close one.
Riot does offer something different to every other map, in my view. I think the pace is significantly slower than the maps. However, if you get that A-rush down, locked to a T, it's so difficult to defend on Riot. You need to have those attacking strategies. Otherwise, teams can just sit back when they're on defense with with a sniper, with an AR, and they can just encourage you to come at them one-on-one, and you're probably just going to lose. So defense can be easier, but if you've got a decent offense strategy, then pretty much it's an easy win. I say easy win, but it's a very simple win if you get that A rush down in particular, but you also need to have that rotation in your arsenal as well over to B. But questions arise again. When do you make that B rotation? So I'll be interested to see when teams do choose to make that decision. But so there's only one way to find out. You're going with an Epsilon win. I'm going to go with Millenium win. And see if that pans out. Epsilon playing the last 2 maps. Going to just be map difference they're playing for after that.
Yeah, Riot is one of those game modes, and it's just one of those maps that you know exactly what the other team wants to do on attack. You know they want to go to that A bomb site again and again, because it's so much easier to attack than it is to defend. There's only so many opportunities you can actually get some sort of decent defensive strategy going, and it seems almost odd that we're how many months into this game now and people still haven't got a proper way to defend that bomb site. It's a bit bizarre. Like, you've got all these things you could use against them to stop it, and it just seems like defensive teams don't really know what they're doing. So I'd like to see something a little bit more thought out from the defense, because it seems like the only time the defense tends to win if they do anything but push that A bomb site.
Yep.
So I'd like to see maybe some pre-nades going down a lot more. Obviously, trophy systems will get rid of up to 2, depending on whether you got overcharged, or maybe they need to throw more grenades at it. Maybe they need to be a bit more conscious of how they get the first picks. I don't see a lot of the pro teams actually push through mid and attack fire, which is actually really overlooked a lot of the time. I know I'm speaking purely from a extremely average and amateur level of Call of Duty, but it seems like maybe it's such an obvious thing that sometimes the pros overlook it. So switching things up and maybe attacking that fire can actually work out for you. Maybe push through mid and go to benches. Who knows? Just switch it up a little bit on the defense, because I think most people have written the defense off as a loss automatically. So maybe we want to see them do something a little bit different.
Well, speaking of different, I've got a slightly different alternative. I'm a big fan of the strategy. I've only ever seen it a couple times through Advanced Warfare. 4-man flank on defense.
I've seen it a couple times. It's hit and miss.
It is hit and miss, but if you do it correctly, it's so hard to defend against. If a team is making an A rush and you make a 4-man flank through B site, they all have to turn around. They're all fighting gun battles, and they're all a little bit kind of like shell-shocked, so to speak. Obviously, the first gun battle is pretty key, to be honest with you, when the 4-man flank is coming to effect, and obviously just speculating at the moment that it will come into effect, but I agree with you. Something different does need to happen when you're on defense. Otherwise, you can just get caught off guard. I mean, some people may laugh, but even using some nades, like you said about the trophy sim and things like that, go for those cheeky nade spots. Whack on danger close. Be a scumbag. Doesn't make a difference. Honestly, just destroy them.
Let's not go overboard. I meant something different, not something really
disgusting. Yeah,
really not approved.
Danger close, double nades.
No one wants to be that guy. No one wants to be that guy.
No, very true. But even using the double nades, because not every player is going to be using trophy system. Yeah, the bomb carrier will tend to be using those nades. Not nades.
These guys, these guys practice this game for hours upon end. Surely they must know every single grenade spot there is. There's actually some really easy ones to get straight onto that bomb. Get the nades to land straight on that bomb. So it sounds really silly, but like have all 4 people just chuck, what is it? No. 8 grenades onto the bomb site?
8 nades on A.
But
do it.
Like you know these guys can throw grenades halfway across the map and get them perfect. So let's see a little bit of that. Let's see something a little bit different on the defense. Otherwise, we're just going to see every round one on attack going to the A bomb site until someone decides to do something different or messes it up horribly.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, but we're going to jump in the game. And the question is, do you want to start on defense?
I want to see Gataga, because he had the sniper before, so I want to see what he does. And we should stick along with the attacking team. Oh, there, as I said that, some nades coming out.
Oh, what a shot from Gataga there. Great start here from Millenium and Epsilon. Well, they're pretty much being pinned in their own spawn already, but as soon as I say that, Shane going for a full flank here. Gataga, big gun battle coming out right now. Shane's been spotted. And Shane, I think he's in a little bit of a difficult situation here. Gataga, easy pick there for Gataga. Reedy left in a 1v4 already. Not a great start for Epsilon at all. Should have an easy pick on Joe. Nope, not going to push in that bottom closet area, but yeah, it's not looking good for him at all right now. This is surely going to be 1-0 to Millenium.
Absolutely. I think Reedy's just going to try and play for some kills as best as he can right now. And he is taken down in the end, unfortunately. It's going to be 1-0 going over to Millenium. Millenium not really doing a huge amount of different on the attack. It looked good from Epsilon to actually try something different. Almost took Gataga out straight off the bat. Really would have given them some breathing room. But Joe with the massive rush onto their third. Really shut them down early on. Gataga picking up Swanee as well with that sniper rifle. Just wasn't the best start from the defense. Let's see what Millenium have got to answer on the defense and what Epsilon have got to answer with on the attack.
We'll jump on board with Joe and think how different that round could have been if Gataga hadn't eaten that grenade and would have just been picked off. There would have been first blood. Epsilon would have had some momentum. And
it's like they're listening to me, finally. People listen to me. Obviously, my AK comment went down a treat because Joe has pushed straight through fire. He's got himself a kill. He is being pushed from bench. Can he get out there? Does manage to get out as he's left in a 1v3 situation now. Reedy does have the bomb, and that is going to be going down. Someone in fight. He does challenge on Shane. Shane's going to go down. It's a 2v1. It is giving him a bit of breathing room, but he's still got 45 seconds to go against Reedy and Zero.
Yeah, well, interesting strategy here from Joe. He's pushed fire twice this map already, but no, he's actually going to push it a third time, and there's always a risk of doing that. He has been spotted here, and it's not looking good for him thus far. 1v2. He's going to challenge it straight away. Gets taken out just about by Reedy there, but changing up the strategy didn't work as successfully in this round, but
that's the last time anyone listens to me.
Well, to be fair, it worked to him to an extent, but I think he just tried to overplay that fire route. I think if he would have backed off and gone around closet area, maybe picked off a kill. You know, I think there was actually a player in around closet. If he'd have picked up that kill, one-on-one, jumped up, taken out Reedy, it sounds so simple from my perspective. However, 1-1 now, and Epsilon is still in this.
Absolutely. Let's jump on board with the attacking team now and see what... Actually, let's go on the defense. Let's see what Epsilon have to show for themselves on the defense and what exactly they're going to be doing for us.
Yeah, well, jump on board with Zero here. He's actually his top third right now. Rated's just been spotted, taken out by Swanee. And Zero pushing.
Oh, Gataga still going.
Tell you what, Gataga is eating some bullets tonight, it has to be said. But once again, Zero picking up another kill there on a 3 streak here.
So 4v2. Oh, and make that 3v2. Joe getting the pick on through fire. It looks like Madcat left by himself, though, unfortunately, as Shane trades that away. This is a 3v1 situation. Madcat in an interesting spot. The bomb is on the A street, and Epsilon are very much aware of it. However, they have backed off the B. They've almost... It looks like what they're trying to do is they're stacking up on B. So if Madcat, for some reason, push through that B side, they'll be fine. They get that pick and trade it away. But they're almost giving him no option but to pick that bomb up and put it on the A bomb site, as he's going to sneak up behind Reedy. Oh, wow!
That's right, we didn't get that kill.
The reaction time from those guys was incredible there.
Yeah, 100% jumping up from second. I'm not sure who that was. Let's have a look at the kill cam, because I think this was an absolute melt of a kill. But Shane on second, jumping back up.
Timing then, okay.
Look at that. Get wrecked, my son. Shane, though, giving Epsilon the lead. 2-1 now. And this is better from Epsilon, it has to be said. It looks like S&D are more accustomed to this S&D, and it looks like it's suiting their game significantly better than we've seen in the previous respawns. But
Shane and Swanee, two of the smartest Call of Duty players you're ever going to meet, really putting their smarts to use right now as they are playing the Search and Destroy. And I said, if there's going to be any game mode they take a win on, it's going to be on the Search and Destroy, and it could mount a massive comeback for them, as we're going to see Gataga just with that thermal sniper, see if he can spot anything coming through the A street. Little does he know, Shane is planting that bomb down. It is going to go down. Is Shane going to push through lower L? He has spotted his head just about, tries to get it, isn't going to happen. Shane's just going to back off, knowing full well there's a sniper looking straight at him. Rated with the HBR, the cheese gun as we've dubbed it, has brought that one out. Reedy getting challenged as well as he does get a kill. Rated trades back the HBR. Zero trades away again. It's a 2v2 situation.
Yeah, I think Gataga is probably better off actually going for the defused here, but Rated in a gun battle needs to win this gun battle, but no, Gataga's actually been taken out as soon as we switched away from him. Rated left in a 1v2 with that cheese gun, picks up pretty much an insta-kill there, pushing this bomb security area as well, but no. Challenge coming up, Rated wins that gun battle, but body shooting coming into effect here on Zero, so a little bit of disrespect coming in here.
I don't think Rated likes clowns.
Yeah, score update at the bottom of your screen though, guys, by the look of it, coming up. VWS 2, Spirit Gaming 2. So it looks like
maybe my prediction's going to be right. I've never predicted a draw, I don't think. Actually, maybe once. I can't remember, but...
Yeah, fair play. Well, I'm wrong. I said 5-1 VWS, so damn you, VWS. But anyway,
another like a supervillain. Damn you, VWS.
Damn you.
If it wasn't for those pesky kids and that mangy mutt.
Yeah, well, it looks like Rated's still going to be using the HBR, so I'm keen to actually stick on board with him. Player has been spotted on second. Our fence is so hard to wallbang, though. It sounds stupid, but Rated eating that grenade there. Seen that a couple times from Millenium. Rated's going to pre-fire into this cubby area. Swanee's going to back off. He's thinking, nah, you fire away, my son. You're not going to hit me. But now he's getting the bomb down. 4v3. Can Millenium clutch up?
Rated's going to back off with this HPR. He's going very quickly as much as he can. It's dangerous to turn your back on this game because you can be taken down very easily. Swanee with a very peculiar decision to just run out on the bomb there. Don't think he really expected anyone to just be sitting in that street still. Zero in a gunfight, finally going to get taken down. Madcat picks that one up, and this is going to surely be a route to Millenium. It is going to be 3-2 to Epsilon, however, in this one.
Great play there from Millenium, though. They waited until a player from Epsilon went down, then got the bomb down straight away, pretty much instantaneously. The thing is, I'm a big fan of that strategy on any S&D map. If you get first pick, if it's 4v3, get the bomb down. Literally, just get the bomb down. Do you know what? If you get taken out, who cares? Kill can be traded, then you can get the bomb down again. But the more you dilly-dally, the more you kind of waste time, the harder it gets. The longer the round goes on, the harder it is to plant. So don't waste any time, particularly on Riot as well on that A side. And Millenium right now, big round from them. However, Epsilon still leading the way thus far. But I want to start on board with Reedy. He has got the bomb, going to go for those nade spots. Cheeky nade on third, but no, he's actually going to turn around towards benches and actually going to be watching the flank. But Kataga in around prison area. Surely a gun battle coming out right now. Kataga pre-aiming that little area here. So I'll switch to the Kataga perspective. Using a sub up against a bow, but Reedy on that head camp, on benches. As you can see, Kataga, it looks like he's actually not going to actually challenge it.
He's got this sixth sense that someone is in there.
He's actually aiming straight at him as well. It's almost like he has got COD vision on, but no.
He really wants. I know the Kataga we all know and love wants to challenge that, but he's done a great job of not doing it. He's baited Reedy into moving there, and it's left Zero in a 1v4 situation. This is very, very rare that we actually see the defense win a round. I don't think the attacking prowess of this Epsilon squad was quite on point in this round.
I'm not really sure why Reedy challenged that, bearing in mind he was the bomb carrier. So the bomb is now down in prison, and that's so actually difficult to get and then rotate to a bomb site. So Reedy, in my view, probably shouldn't have challenged that. He had no need to challenge that, and Kataga literally baited out Rated to perfection. Oh, not Rated, baited out Reedy to perfection there. Zero, though, in a 1v3. Can he get this 1v4? No. 13 seconds left. It would be impressive. No, he's actually looking the wrong way. Bomb is the other way. As you can see, sniping down there. It's just spotted Kataga. Kataga should pick up this kill in prison. No, oh, just misses out. And that's back-to-back rounds for Millenium. So, looks like this is pretty much... It looks like it's headed to around 11, to be honest with you, already.
Absolutely. Epsilon had a really good lead there, and they've kind of thrown it away in those past two rounds. Let's see if they can rectify the mistakes. This is... Do you know what? I want to give an applaudit to Kataga. He's playing so much smarter. When I watched Kataga previously, he's got no care in the world for what's going on. He does what he wants. He's the French monster for a reason. He seems so much more control. This Millenium squad has actually tamed him so well. Like, he's doing he's making the smart plays. For the first time that I've seen in a long time from him.
But once again, baiting out a gun battle, destroys Reedy again there. And there's another gun battle. Oh no, he's surely just spotted that player. But no, bomb is down. Millenium opting to push B. Round done and dusted. This is what we're saying. If you can get that B push down as well, just pull it out randomly. Sometimes teams just aren't prepared for it. They're expecting you to always push A sites. So if you just pull out a random B push, they're like, guys, what the hell's going on? But that round done pretty much instantaneously. Kataga again, though, winning those early gun battles for his side. He's currently 6-3 on a 4 streak. Joe currently 9-3 on a 4 streak. And Rated obviously getting that kill cam with that cheese gun. And he's on a 1. So, not as impressive, but 3 rounds on the bounce for Millenium. Right now, they're looking pretty comfortable.
Yeah, Millenium getting back into the swing of things. Epsilon really not having the best day out of the races right now. They really need to get themselves together. Swanee having a bit of a nightmare Search and Destroy. I don't think Search and Destroy is really playing to his strengths for this game. It's really a shame to see because he is a fantastic player. But he doesn't seem to impress too much on the Search and Destroy stage that I see when he's playing. So let's see what they can do right now. Shane going for the sneaky plant, just out of the way enough to be able to see if someone does challenge from low. It is going to be the target that challenges and wins it. Rated challenges as well. Reedy gets the trade away. 1v2 for Rated right now.
Yeah, 100%. But once again, wise decision coming out of this Epsilon side. They had the one-man advantage, got the bomb straight down. Kills were traded away as we
Rated's going to push this. This is not the... switch to the SMG. Rated, just seeing if he does come back out of the rotate. He's expecting... He's played with Reedy many, many times. He hasn't heard the boost either. He's going for the defuse. Has he seen it? He's seen it. He's finally seen it. Rated finally going to go down. Wow, that was a bit of a... That was such a battle of the minds there. I mean... Reedy and Rated obviously played with each other so many times. They know exactly how each other thinks. And Rated expecting Reedy to not rotate round into fire or over to benches and expects him to come and challenge back through lower third. And Reedy almost let that one go. He did check the bomb twice and couldn't quite see it. And he does finally get it up, so it's going to be leveled up at 4-4.
Yeah, well, big round there for Epsilon. If they would have lost 4 rounds on the bounce, then obviously difficult when it comes to momentum, obviously being 5-3 down as well, or it would have been, but now we're locked up at 4-4. I'm going to stay on board with Reedy here. He's having a little bit of a inconsistent game thus far, making a few great decisions and a few poor ones. Trophy System going to eat those nades up. Madcat has been spotted, though, with this sniper rifle. Oh, great pick there by Reedy on Madcat.
And Swanee gets the kill as well.
Rated's been spotted as well, I'm sure of it. Reedy, he knows exactly where Rated is. Rated is in some trouble here. Oh, another great pick here from Reedy. Now on a bloodthirsty Gataga, left in a 1v4. Picks up the first kill, but now he's got it all to do.
Yeah, not the best situation for that Millenium team. Once again, Epsilon actually getting their bearings for the defense and playing it to perfection right there, getting those picks, putting Rated in a difficult situation he can't get out of. Gataga having a great game so far, but really in a bad situation here. Challenges, gets taken down. This is going to be finally a map point towards Swanee and co if they can see out this final attacking round. So well played from them on the defense. And you look at the kills right now. Really not that impressive for Epsilon right now. I mean, Millenium are doing a great job, but that's not what wins you the game at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, it looks like 2 players from Millenium have got more kills combined than the entire roster from Epsilon, if I'm not mistaken. So if you combine, just for example, Rated and Joe, 17 kills, then obviously add up the Epsilon kills, 10, 15, 20. All right, no, I'm completely wrong. But still, I'm going to defend my point. Millenium are outslaying.
This is interesting.
Yeah, 100%. Gataga just...
Oh,
I'm not really a big fan of that strategy from Gataga. That's almost like a mindless rush through prison. Always risky to do so, but, you know, still left in a 2v2. Madcat does trade up that kill on Reedy here.
I don't think he was expecting... I think he was thinking they'd just go for a traditional A-rush when a lot of people try and mix it up on this last round when they know they're back against the wall and they've got to make something happen. Swanee gets the kill. Joe's going to challenge it. Joe taken down. Epsilon get a point on the go, and my prediction is looking so much more better now.
3-1. Point is still on for Epsilon. However, they've got a lot of work to do, to say the least. Got to jump on board with 0 for that kill cam. 7 and 6, fairly consistent game from him. Shane 3 and 8 gets away with a sloppy performance there. However, his team wins. That's the important thing. Epsilon, could we see a fight back here between arguably one of the, well, 2 of the best teams in this league itself? So we could see it. Obviously, I said just a minute ago, you can never write off this Epsilon roster with the roster that they've got. But headed to another S&D, how much momentum do you think Epsilon can build off of that victory on Riot?
They can build a lot. Obviously, they've got it in their hands. It's search and destroy. The pace has slowed down a little bit. That suits players like Shane. It suits players like Swanee, who are obviously a lot more slower paced when it comes to Call of Duty. So it's going to benefit them the most, I think, overall. And with that, they out-predicted Millenium in a lot of that. It wasn't really the most strategically well played, like to outplay the other team. It seemed like it was purely an out-predicting thing, like we saw in that last round.
Yep.
Gataga basically went mid almost every round, and finally, when it was predicted that Epsilon could go through mid, they did it, and it worked perfectly for them. They took Gataga out. Gataga maybe should have played a little bit more passive in that situation. Maybe as soon as he saw someone, should have gotten out of there as quickly as he possibly could. And it looked like Epsilon just, you know, they predicted it a lot better. They threw away a couple of rounds, which, you know, they could have possibly played a little bit smarter. But in the situations that they did win, they just out-predicted a lot better. And with Biolab Search and Destroy, it is one of those maps where you kind of do have to out-predict them as well because of how far away the 2 Search and Destroy bomb sites are. So it's going to be interesting to see how Millenium combat that. I think Epsilon are probably going to have a few strategies in their arsenal for this one. And
obviously, this is the first map we've seen Millenium drop in Season 2 thus far, so maybe mentality, could that come into question? Guys, we just drop a map. We're now playing another S&D. Bearing in mind, that was on the Millenium host as well. So that's a break of hosts, so to speak. Obviously, up next, Biolab S&D, as you touched upon. Epsilon host as well. So how influential can that be? Because if they win back-to-back maps here, Hardpoint Solar, the momentum is going to be all about Epsilon. And if they can get a draw out of this, you've got to say they are still in contention for this league. It will be difficult, but it will be a hell of a lot more difficult if they don't get a single point from this series. So it's all to play for in this next map. Biolab S&D, you correctly predicted Epsilon were going to win. I was wrong again, unfortunately. But Are you going to go with Epsilon again, or are you going to change it up?
Predict an apocalypse now and see what happens.
Just go buy a scratch card. Let's get a scratch card.
Do you want to get a scratch card after this?
Yeah, go for it. Probably win nothing. As
Won't
always.
be here next week because I have all the money in the world. But I think Millenium are probably going to win this one. Millenium, obviously, Search and Destroy sometimes... For Biolab itself, it is one of those maps. You have to have good coordination to get the bomb site down because the defense, in hindsight, in some situations, it's very favorable to them. But in some retrospective opportunities, maybe a little bit more preferable to the attacking team. It depends on how you approached it from a defensive side. If you rush something and go all out, you've shot yourself in the foot if someone else is if they've gone for the different bomb site. If you play a bit more passive, you can possibly regroup yourself, shuffle a little bit quicker. So it is one of those maps that's all about predicting. I think Millenium are probably going to have a couple more strategies up their sleeve than Epsilon might do. I think this is a map that doesn't... To get the full potential out of Epsilon right now, Swanee is an AR player at all times. They need to play to that strength, which is why I think you're going to see from them on the attack a lot of A pushes, which is on that big open blue gen. So to get the full potential out of it, I think you're going to see that. Reedy's obviously very proficient with a sniper rifle. We've seen it time and time again. Saw it in the Pro League last season, saw it at the 100K, saw it at tournaments before that. And that's what I think they're going to be doing a lot of. Not so much the B pushes, but the A pushes. And I think Millenium can probably diversify themselves between those two.
Yeah. What I love about Biolab S&D, though, is the fact that both bomb sites are viable. You don't need to have a special strategy like we've seen on Riot, where you've got to make a B push knowing when to do it. Both sites on Biolab, A, if you get that locked down, fairly simple. Same for B as well, pushing into purple, looking it down on outskirts, maybe jump top purple, go on the head count, snipe over towards blue. So this map, we're going to see something a little bit different, but we've just had a score update, I believe, and it's Vitality 3, IGI 0. So I think both of our predictions are still on that front. Fairly expected result, to say the least. But obviously, I'm going to disagree with you just for the sake of disagreeing with you. So I'm going to say Epsilon.
Why do you hate me?
Well, no, it's not that. It's just...
You hate me.
Well, you think
I
Epsilon...
thought we were getting along so well. We've been doing this for a while now. We're seeing how things go. We could get our own little caster desk together.
Honestly, I think we should just, like... No,
say our caster vows together. I thought we had a thing.
Okay, all right. Anyway, on with the day. I'm starting to feel uncomfortable now. No, in all seriousness, though, I would have said Millenium were going to win this map. However, it's now on the Epsilon host. And the fact that Epsilon just broke host, so to speak, and
even more reason for them to push the A with Swanee.
It's important, to be honest with you, the fact that you can break host, because it gives you even more confidence headed into the next game mode. And the thing is because it is the same game mode with S&D, I hate to use the word warmed up, so to speak, but they've just played the game mode. They're feeling confident because they've just beaten a team. Yeah, exactly. That's the exact term that I needed there, so thank you.
No worries.
In the groove. So there we go.
See, we get along so well. Why don't you want to get a caster desk with me?
We should, honestly. I think
Our
we should
own
make
caster desk.
I think we should start a YouTube channel, everything. We can call it the Trout and Ink Show. It'd be fantastic, honestly.
Call it Trink.
Trink. Welcome to Season 2 of the EU Pro League. Trink.
I'm trying to get like a combined name with all the casters in the UC. And I've already got me and Brycey, which is the Brow. Because we used to have a little Gfinity show where we played games. And it's basically me and him playing games really horribly together. And then he insulted me basically the entire show. So
yeah, that's pretty much what Brycey does. And I think we do have to give him a brief shout out, don't we?
We love a bit of Brycey.
Well, it's his birthday today, isn't it? So I think he's old now. I think he's old now, so we'll probably be retired in a couple of months, probably. Hopefully give some of us other casters a chance.
Love you, Brycey.
No, happy birthday, all that good stuff. And right now we're just filling time because we're waiting for players to get in the lobby, start the game, and yeah, then we can finally jump on board with it. But obviously, hearing the other results, we'll briefly touch upon that. Obviously, VWS and Spirit Gaming. I said yesterday that the loser of that series is probably going to go down, and I'm gonna be ballsy. I'm gonna say, yeah, that is going to be the case. So if it does finish 3-3, which team would you say is favourite out of the two to go down? Because I think we both agree that it'll probably be one or the other. And bearing in mind, huge result for. Yeah, still 2-all. Yeah, sorry, just got a score update. It's still 2-all, so I think there's been a little bit of a brief delay on that front. But obviously, VWS, huge result over Epsilon yesterday, so they've taken a big scalp. But Spirit Gaming, huge result over Vitality. So both teams are kind of equal on that front as well. So, all right, now it's 3-2 to VWS. So VWS have now gone 3-2. And last time this happened, they went 4-2. So if that happens again, I'd say Spirit Gaming may be in some trouble because at LAN, I've cast them at LAN, and they do struggle, to be honest with you. Whereas online, they have got a little bit of cheese, so to speak. Not calling them an online team or anything like that, but obviously at LAN, you know, it's very, very different, to be honest with you. I went on a massive rant about this yesterday, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But Spirit Gaming will struggle at LAN. Same for Hyper Games as well. So, yeah, another score update as well. Vitality now 4-0. We're getting all these score updates now. The producer's just like giving them all to me at once. So I do apologise on that front. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that? VWS, Spirit Gaming, which team would go down?
I'm a VWS fan, like,
yeah.
Personally because I'm a massive Realize fan as well. Like, I think they've got some good raw talent on there. Maybe not gelling the best at times, and I've seen them at LAN a couple of times with the old squad as well, and they haven't looked the most convincing of teams, but I think they now have a decent and solid squad to stay in this league. It's a shame that there isn't a lot of room for error with how it works. With only 8 teams, there's not a lot of safety zone. They're a team that sit in this safety zone for me. They're not a team that challenge for that top 4 position.
Yeah.
No offense to the guys from VWS. Love you guys to bits, but they're not the kind of team that sit in that top echelon. They're not really, for me, a team that should be sitting in relegation zone. They should be in that safety zone, but there's only 2 positions in the safety zone to be at. Yeah. So they really do have to make sure that they are on form, because it could go really badly against them if they don't do what they need to. And as I said, they've been together for quite a while now. They've been playing the top teams already. They know what they're against. They're capitalizing on some of the bigger teams that have made changes and are maybe not as fluid as them.
Yeah, I agree, but one thing I'm going to very, very briefly say before we jump into the game is obviously Hyper Games, you've had a score update, currently 4-1 down to Infuse, so Hyper Games could be in some trouble as well.
So they 6-0, didn't I?
Well, they could have been actually dragged into the relegation battle as well, but we're going to jump into this game. We'll analyze that after all this nonsense. Biolab S&D up next.
This is an interesting... Okay, it looks like they're targeting B.
They've split up.
This is very slow. I think they're almost looking like they're going to bait Millenium into setting up positions, getting uncomfortable by waiting with no intel for a while, and then they're just going to hit something, which seems to be a little bit more what's going to happen. In fact, that's not what's going to happen. Shane's going to blow up those canisters and just alert them.
Yeah, Shane is playing that bait role at the moment. It looks like he's just going to try and
feel
out A.
Let's see if it works out.
But look at Epsilon. They're completely split up now. I thought it was just going to be Shane pushing this A site, but no. Look at the top left of your screen. Everyone on stream right now. We've got a player over by the Blue Heart. We've got a player Empire.
This is how they're baiting it. They're basically trying to draw the attention. Okay, it's not worked out too well for them. They're trying to draw the attention as much as they possibly can over on this A bomb site, get uncomfortable, and then they're going to rush that B bomb site. Let's see if it works. Swanee does get that kill as well, and someone is going to flood into the B bomb site. There is someone on that purple. They're actually facing away. Oh no, he's on the roof, sorry. He is on the roof. Someone has backed off onto green. This is a very interesting strat by Epsilon, but it is working out so well for them right now. Gataga going to push onto Swanee. Gets that one. Can he get the 2Bs? No! Epsilon make it 1-0 in their favor once again, and it looked really unorganized from Epsilon, but that's how good the strategy was, that even we on the broadcaster were confused by what was going on.
I'm still not a fan of it. Even though they won that round, I'm still not a fan of that strategy.
Yeah, it's such a throwing it all caution to the wind and hoping for the best kind of thing. Yeah. It's not really an insurance strategy that I like to call them. It's guaranteed to have this kind of a knock-on effect, but it worked for them.
Yeah, it's just because
it's something new. I don't see that a lot.
Yeah, well, Swanee won a massive gun battle in and around purple. We didn't see it on stream, but obviously at the top left of the screen we did catch it. And then obviously a big gun battle from Reedy as well, trading up the kill after I think it was Shane who was first blooded. So the gun battles went in favor of Epsilon's way, and obviously when that happens, it doesn't matter what strategy you've got at the end of the day. But I'm now looking at Millenium, and they look fairly split up, not as much as Epsilon were previously, but one player here from Epsilon on B. The rest over by A, but the rotation's now coming into effect. So I'm going to jump on board with Rated, slowly crawling towards that bomb site. Is he going to get the bomb down? Yes, he is. Reedy wins 2.
Massive 2-piece.
Yeah, Zero also finishes off Rated, and this should be a fairly simple round for Epsilon. That's 2 rounds in very quick succession here. So looks like Millenium slightly on the ropes here.
Absolutely. Epsilon, these strategies they've got are just really interesting. Like, to be honest, on that defense, it looked much like a pub game with how they set up. They basically all split up, kind of checked around, then came back, and Millenium weren't really sure what they were doing, and then they finally made their decision, and it just worked for them. Sometimes you just have to think a little bit outside the box, and because these pro guys, they've seen it all, they've done it all, they know what to expect, but sometimes those really silly strategies actually work out better. You see how many times they moan about playing some of the lower teams because they've got weird strategies or really obvious things to bring to the table, but they work because the pros almost overestimate them, and that seems to be what's going on here, and it's working for Epsilon.
Yeah, Swanee putting some bullets down ice, but no, picks up a big gun battle again on Rated. It looks like Epsilon are just winning every gun battle that they actually get into, and they're always the big gun battles that Epsilon go big on, but looks like Swanee going to be peeking down ice again, spots Guitarga again. But no, I completely agree with you, but Swanee does have bomb, and if bomb down in bio, will not favour Epsilon at all. But no, Guitarga is me pushing ice. No, Swanee at the moment is just completely pinning Guitarga in, but Madcap, just look at his position on the screen.
I really expect Guitarga to push down there, like, that's what I'm saying. He's a lot more controlled. He's calmed down on this team a lot more. The old Guitarga probably would have pushed through that ice and just tried to outslay Swanee, which isn't a very good idea unless he's got amazing COD timing. But Swanee gonna jump on this bomb now. He's running out of time. He has got a lot of support. Madcat on the stairs. He hasn't heard it. He's gonna poke up. The kill is traded away. Shane getting the drop on his former teammate.
Once again, a massive gun battle there from Shane. If he hadn't picked up that kill, then that would have been an easy two-piece for Madcat. Joe, though, in a 1v4, picks up the first kill, taken out from behind, though, and that's yet another round for Epsilon. Is the comeback on, people? If they win this map, it's 3-2 in map count, and then we can see everything on the line on a map number 6. And we were saying yesterday, literally yesterday, because that's obviously when we casted, saying we never ever cast 3-3s. We've never casted one. We always see 6-0s or 5-1s, but if this goes in Epsilon's favor, I've got to say, Epsilon, with all the momentum, surely favorites for the Hardpoint.
Well, it is solar hardpoint on Millenium's host to end with, so it's gonna have to be an absolute display and a half from Epsilon to take that away from them. So
yeah, very true.
I think Epsilon just looked really comfortable in Search and Destroy. I did say that I wasn't too convinced with Epsilon, well, the old Epsilon Search and Destroy on the at the 100K. They did say they wanted a little bit more of a Search and Destroy global presence with the team changes they made when they dropped Marquee, and it looked like they had glimpses of amazing ability, but a lot of it came down to single individual plays rather than team efforts and team strategies. So I don't think that's really translated well, even after they've picked up Guitarga right here. This is an interesting nade. I'm not sure. He's expecting someone to be on that blue crate. Not going to work out. Guitarga making him look foolish there.
Oh, it wasn't a turn-on kill as such, but that was a beautiful kill from Guitarga. That was pretty much Soundhorn to perfection. Just take a look at this. Guitarga hits him with the movement. Get owned, my son. However, Reedy's still 6-1, so he's still leading the way Slayer-wise, so he's having a whale of a time on Biolab thus far. But 3-1, big round for Millenium. They'd have lost 4 on the bounce, 4-0 down. You know, mentally very difficult to come back, and you can lose your head in the party going, oh, you know, for God's sake, we're down 4-0. But, as I said, big round. We've already seen this from Reedy once before, so I'm going to jump on board with Swanee here. Looking down ice, looks like the same strategy over and over again here from Epsilon, or 2 attacking rounds on the bounce, I should say. But it worked last time, so why not stick to a winning formula, I suppose. But gun battle going down Orange Tunnel. Swanee's just spotted that gas coming from that exo movement.
Oh, this is going to be very bad if he gets caught. No, in fact, he's managed to get away from it. The Millenium squad have backed off. They're just a little bit... They're expecting some sort of B rotate. You don't want to fall for the tricks that they pulled out on the first one. You see how many people are actually lying prone right now. Millenium, very cautious. They do not want to give another map up to this Epsilon squad. And Epsilon just strategically, carefully plotting their vengeance on this Millenium squad. Shane again going for the pre-fire on the cannons. Is actually going to miss this time. He has got the bomb. Maricat up on that top blue area. I think he might have a sniper rifle. In fact, Reedy with the sniper rifle does get rated. Reedy's so crucial with those picks. When he makes those picks, he opens the map so much for his team. He's actually going to push through B as well, just to give them a bit more support. He has spotted Joe in this circle area. He's actually going to miss that shot and back off. Zero getting the headshot there. This is open for Epsilon to take. Oh, and another kill there. And Reedy's going to pick up the AR, followed up again. Epsilon 4-1 in this search and destroy.
Reedy going on a full flank with a sniper rifle with a PDW backup. That takes guts. And
he's a confident person.
Well, yeah, well, that essentially won Epsilon that round, in my view. Having that full flank just completely caught and Millenium off guard. They weren't expecting a full flank, especially with the sniper rifle as well. It just meant that Reedy just destroyed people, essentially. PDW gun battle as well in blue. But big round there for Epsilon. If that obviously would have gone to Millenium, it would have been 3-2. Pressure then reverts back to Epsilon. However, restating that 3-round lead, looking comfortable. And I'm going to have to stick with Reedy because right now, 8-1. You just can't take anything away from him at all. He's just playing very, very well in this S&D.
He's just making some great picks with that sniper rifle, and you can tell when he's not having a good search and destroy because the other team are shutting him down from getting those picks off. And you see him 8-1 right now, all with the sniper rifle, whereas before, sometimes we've seen games for him where he's been a little bit cold at times, and that's usually because he's not getting the picks. We saw Riot last map, another sniper-heavy map where he's getting picks, and that's going to be a 5-1 Swift for Epsilon.
Yeah, well, it looks like all the gun battles were going
down the drain. Why? Why, cruel world?
All the gun battles were going down B there, so we didn't see really actually manage to get off any picks. Looks like he was actually looking towards the A-site kill cam, though, going in favor of Shane, having a better S&D than the last one. Has to be said, finished off 3-7 in the last S&D, 5-3 currently after 6 rounds played thus far. 5-1 to Epsilon, though, looking very comfortable on this S&D. And to be fair to them, obviously you said that it'll be on the Millenium host the next map, and obviously Respawn does favor Millenium as well with the slaying power that they have. However, it's just all about mentality for me. Obviously there has been some criticism of some of the new Millenium lineup. Sometimes they lose their heads, so to speak, after losing a couple maps, so it'll be interesting to see how they can bounce back. Rated has actually left the game.
He is salty.
And this is what we're saying about mentality, though. You know, I'm assuming that it wasn't connection-based because he's just rage quit the lobby, essentially. But this is what you mean about, you know, you're frustrated. You just leave the game. You go, oh, no, screw this, I'm leaving. And you can just get a little bit too heated. You can lose your focus. And Rated has played very, very well throughout the series. However, that's game done and dusted. I mean, Rated...
That's never nice to see. You don't, that doesn't give... Like, I'm going to say this, right, sorry to cut you off, but with going into Hardpoint, obviously it's easier going into a Hardpoint compared after a search and destroy, because if you are struggling in search and destroy to get kills, it's so much easier to get kills in Hardpoint. It boosts your confidence really quickly back up once you're getting a couple kills on the board.
Yeah.
But like the mentality in that party, if you're rage quitting a game after you've lost, like Gotaga could have made that clutch. How are you supposed to like bring your confidence and your mentality back from that if you've just left as soon as you died?
No, I agree with you there on that front. I don't think Rated was picked off either, so it wasn't the case of not having faith in his teammates. I don't even think he got in a gun battle. He just left at the very start of the round. But 5-1 down, I suppose some players would just say, look, I'd rather not suffer the defeat. I'd rather just leave, set up the next lobby because we've got host. Treat that like a different series completely. Treat it as a one-and-done Hardpoint, for example. So we'll see if Rated can get his head back, or if this Millenium side, if their mentality is actually absolutely fine. They're probably sat in the party right now laughing, saying, oh no, we're having a whale of time, having some Maltesers maybe. just
Maltesers? Why Maltesers?
Because I like Maltesers, and you know, when I'm sat playing COD, just chill out with a bag of Maltesers.
With some Maltesers.
Yeah, quid from Tesco's.
I like Oreos, to be honest.
I don't like Oreos.
No.
I don't like them. I really don't. I just
right,
no.
well,
reminds me of custard creams.
Well,
custard
you've
creams
just set back that caster desk by a month with that comment.
Damn you. But yeah, obviously, okay, well, I think we've got... I've got a love heart on my screen. There we go. Trink show.
What is this music?
Okay, thank you.
You can tell the production's getting bored when they're doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
Oh, wrong thing. Trink show. I should move over this way, shouldn't I? It's like a sitcom.
Well, there we go. Season 2 of the EU Pro League. Nothing but professional casting. Trink show for the win. Anyway, make it happen, producers. Make it happen. Full pay, please. Anyway, on with it. Now up next, though, solo Hardpoint. You've said that Millenium should be fairly comfortable. I'm going to say that this is going to be a little bit closer. And the thing is what is frustrating in some ways is the only Hardpoint we've seen in this series between these two teams was on a DLC map. Obviously, now back to the original maps where everyone knows them, everyone's played them. A hell of a lot, to be honest with you. We don't know how Epsilon are going to play on this. We've seen in every respawn, though, that Epsilon tend to get outslayed by this Millenium side, particularly Mad Cat. Just tends to go off, to be honest with you. We said it time and time again. So if they can shut down Mad Cat, though, stop the momentum from Mad Cat. And the problem with Mad Cat, though, is he can use a sub or an AR. So even if you shut him down from a distance, maybe we'll see Mad Cat anchoring, particularly on the second hard point, with regards to being up high on third maps. And, you know, maybe on the third hard point, or second hard point, sorry, I was talking about there. Third hard point, obviously, in Garage. Maybe he's going to take up that row outside the hard point. So it'll be interesting to see how Mad Cat plays and if Epsilon can provide a counter to his play. However, solo hard point, you've said Millenium, because they've got host. I'm going to say Epsilon because I want to see a 3-3 really badly. However,
I wouldn't mind seeing that as well.
Yeah, well, we're going to take another brief look at the maps and how this has gone. So, Trout, I want you to walk us through what we've seen on stream thus far for anyone just jumping in.
So, the Uplink Detroit, hosted by Millenium, was a 12-10 overall. It was very close, almost squeaky bum time for Rated as he gave away the ball after going for a reset. Epsilon so close to getting the counter and managing to take it to overtime, but unfortunately didn't. Millenium purely winning that based on 3 counter caps that Epsilon really should have been more prepared for. Hardpoint on Drift ended 236 to 159. The AR power of Millenium was just far too strong. We've touched on how versatile they are and how Epsilon just struggling with how the fact that they're a little bit more set in their ways with their roles. We came to Uplink on Parliament, another DLC map where Epsilon unfortunately weren't really prepared for it, and Millenium just able to sneak it 5-2 with some impressive one-pointer plays. We went to Search and Destroy on Riot, where it ended 6-4 in the favor of Epsilon. Epsilon putting on a performance, to say the least, at the beginning, but threw a couple rounds away to make it very close in the end. However, their out-predicting of the Millenium squad brought them the victory. And the Search and Destroy on Biolab, it was just some next level tactical cheese going on from Epsilon with the things that they were bringing out.
Yeah.
And it meant that they managed to take away a very convincing 6-1 victory. And now we're coming to Hardpoint on Solar, where Millenium are hosts. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because with Swanee, I've seen him play Hardpoint Solar quite a few times, and he's very good at it. Obviously, with that AR. AR is very, very dominant on a lot of hills for this map, so he's going to be doing his best to slay for his team. And obviously, a little bit more submachine gun orientated because that drift was not very helpful for people like Shane who may have struggled, who aren't too used to using an AR and will prefer having maps where the submachine gun is more reliable.
Yeah.
Having said that, Reedy, he's a bit hot and cold on Solar Hardpoint. We saw it at the 100k. You either get the most amazing performance from Reedy, and when he is on form, he is scary to come up against. Absolutely scary, and he has been on fire tonight. So let's see if he does it in there. But you can have these moments where he's maybe not performing to his best. So we'll have to see how that one goes. Zero, he's not been over the top amazing this series, but he's been very consistent. So he has been using that AR. He could probably switch to an SMG. We'll have to see how that goes down. So Epsilon very much in contention to take this. However, Millenium side, Madcat, amazing AR, amazing Slayer, does everything you want. Can pull out a submachine gun if he needs to when it's required. Rated, another versatile player who can AR and SMG. He said to me the other day that he actually prefers using the SMG. He's not too sure why he was made to use the main bow at the 100k, which maybe is why he slipped. They didn't perform to their optimum at that event. Yeah. So we've also got Joe, one of the best submachine guns in Europe right now. And we've got Kataga, who's a lot more controlled, a lot more methodical about his play, and they're looking very, very structured. So I think this is going to be down to the wire, if I'm going to say. I can't call it. I want to say Millenium to make my prediction stick, but I would love to see Epsilon make this league interesting and make Millenium drop some points. Yeah,
well, we've just had another score update through Infused Hyper Games. Game is done and dusted. Final result 4-2. So both of us wrong on that front. But anyway, so Infuse there, just scraping through there, has to be said, but pick up another 3 points. They go top of this league. However, will they be joined by Millenium? It all comes down to this map, folks. Map number 6. Can Epsilon clutch up here, or are Epsilon going to spoil the party? Who do you want to start on board with?
Let's stick with Joe and see what he's doing. He's actually running an AR to start with, and so I say that he has gone down. Reedy, on this glass side, it's very important to make sure you lock down this glass side. It gives you so much better spawns and a lot better coverage of the map for this scrap time hill. Obviously, getting the points aren't the biggest of deals in this, but it does help you nonetheless, as Zero is in the hardpoint with that AR. A lot of ARs being brought out for the beginning of this hill because of how open it is. He's going to be taken down finally by Kataga, and this is slightly in the favor of Epsilon as we've got 20 seconds left.
Yeah, Joe currently on a 3-streak, jumping top glass, also using an AR at the moment, so Mr. Submachine Gun pulling out that AR. I've seen that a couple of times from him this series. Picks up the 4th kill there. Is he going to get the Bloodthirsty? No, taken out there by Shane. Jump on board, though, with Madcat. Approaching this next hard point. Obviously, scrap time is going under contestation right now. Epsilon going to pick it up, though. Lead is 5 seconds after the first hard point, as expected. Now, second hard point time. Madcat.
That was aggressive.
Yeah, well, well, I'm currently on board with Madcat, and he's taking up that anchor roll, and it just brings out the aggression in me. So Madcat is playing it passively, though. He's just letting players just jump over him, and this is great play here from Madcat. Big 2-piece there. He's going to pick up a 3rd kill.
They have lost the spawns, however, so he needs to try and make this kill and see if he can push them back in his team's favor. He's going to push through maps, finally taken down from a team kill by Joe. Reedy pushing towards his hardpoint. It is going to, once again, go in the favor of Epsilon. The spawns in their favor still, and they have got control of the hardpoint. Rated just waiting for his teammates to come. It wasn't happening though, and unfortunately he's died, and they have spawned up in the middle of the map. There's still time for them to contest for this, but they are looking to keep control of this lower third of the map spawns, as really trying to make kills, not happening. Millenium still in the front by a couple of points.
Yeah, but you can see how close this game is. 7 seconds in it, headed in to the third hardpoint. However, now things get sweaty on Solar. Third and fourth hardpoint, crucial in my view. Zero on that rotation, looking towards this front door area. Shane also on the hardpoint as well, looking at this parking lot area as well, the sandlot area. Big gun battle coming out right now on Gataga. Oh, choking a few shots there. Kill's being contested. Shane's going to turn around. Big gun battle though. Goes in favor. Turns around. Almost has a turn on kill there on Gataga. But Millenium do break that hill. And now they can start trying to rebuild that lead.
Absolutely. Shane pushing into this hardpoint is going to get in there to defend it. It is going to be challenged by Rated. Shane gets the kill on him with a nice hit fire. It is challenged immediately by Kataga, who trades that away. Reedy back into the thick of it. Does look for another kill. He's going to get one. Is two in a bad situation to be able to get both kills and goes down. Reedy again back off the respawn, looking to make some kills. He does get one on Kataga. Challenged twice at the same time. Joe picks that one up, and it looks like Millenium starting to flood in. And there's only 10 seconds left, so they need to make sure they get on this rotation. Kataga's actually spawned out and looked for the rotate. He does spot Shane in a bad situation. Gets two-piece there and does a huge job of making sure they don't have full contention of this. And here come Millenium in their forces. That was a huge two-piece by Gataga.
Yeah, single-handedly broke that hill essentially. However, is about to be broken in quick response. Rated, taken out by Zero. Big two-piece from Epsilon themselves. So now they can get some points on the board. Joe, though, is going to try and stop that. Gets taken out by Zero again, who gets another two-piece. Now on a Bloodthirsty, now on a 6th streak. Is this going to be the 7th kill? Yeah, it is going to be the 7th kill. Going on a tear up, but taken out there by Madcap. But Swanee still locking down that hill time.
Just to make point of our previous pointing out, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Anyway, it's been a long evening. 8 and 14 by Rated right now. Now, we said how much the momentum of the last two games and how much mentality-wise it can affect players. And it seems like it has maybe gotten to Rated on a number of occasions. He's not really putting up the numbers you would expect. Dies once again, not making the kills you would traditionally expect Rated to make. He has been having an incredible run on form. Had a sticky time at the beginning of Advanced Warfare, but has just become one of the most amazing Advanced Warfare players that we have seen so far from Europe, and it's just not quite clicking for him in this game. I think maybe the mentality has gotten to him a little bit, and Zero has come out firing right now. This is why Epsilon have picked him up to do things like this on a 7 streak right now, just locking down his side. 8 streak. Finally taken down. 21 and 12, 7 captures to his name. Zero, take a bow, son.
Zero was 5 and 8, just literally, what, 60 seconds ago? Then we've seen a 7 streak from him and an 8 streak from him out of literally nowhere. Rated going to lock down this blue cut area. Taken down, though, by Reedy. Epsilon have built a fairly substantial lead. However, if this scrap time goes in favor of Millenium, it's still going to be neck and neck. Big two-piece coming up. No, Zero goes big. Rated trades it out, though. Still in that hill. Scrap time is being fought over, but it looks like it is going to go in favor of Epsilon. And thus far, so good for Epsilon.
This is where Millenium need to keep their cool. They've got a lot of hot-headed attitudes in that party, not to make insults to anyone, but it is quite a aggressive team. A lot of egos, well, I say egos, not negatively, but there's a lot of attitudes in that party. A lot of them could conflict and butt heads at times, which is sometimes something I'm a little bit fearful of with this team, because it has the potential to be the most amazing team that Europe have produced in quite a while. And at the moment, it looks like maybe some heads are being butted, because Gataga 40 and 23, Rated 15 and 22. The attitude in the last two games has not been quite what we've seen. Maybe the structure is starting to fall apart at the seams for Millenium as Epsilon just unwinding them. Yeah,
100%. Well, Madcat currently in and around this hill area with an AR as well, but finally taken down there by Shane. But it looks like Millenium got some significant hill time on the pool hardpoint, which you don't tend to see an awful lot, though. So perhaps a little bit sloppy from Epsilon there. However, going to that yellow cut hardpoint, looks like Gataga has got better spawns already locked up for Millenium. However, hill broken there. 1 second in it. Epsilon still got the lead just, though. And it looks like that is going to go to waste now. No, is it? No. Big gun battle there from Joe. Pushing these spawns as well with that sub. Got trophy system on. Big gunner coming up. Wins the first one. One player underneath him. Doesn't spot him, though. Shane goes big, but Millenium have started to rebuild that lead, which they lost earlier on in the game.
Yeah, it needs Shane to really step up right now. Some of his pushes onto the hills haven't been the most methodical. They've been very scrappy, and he's just pushed it for the sake of pushing it without really much of a game plan. We need to see Swanee keep Mad Cat shut down. Mad Cat not exactly having the kind of games we're used to seeing from him, but by no means having a bad one. So Swanee keeping him a little bit more quiet than we're used to seeing from Mad Cat, not letting him run rampant, and Swanee really needs to do that. We need to see Shane shut down Joe. We need to see Rated continue to be shut down. He's 19 and 27 right now. Oh no.
No. Oh dear.
The host, unfortunately, has lost connection there.
Well, this is going to be fun whilst we sort this out. That's fantastic. I think that was about 12 seconds in it, which is not ideal for anyone involved, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's us that's just lagged out there, or if the game's going to continue, or I think we're going to get someone higher up to investigate that for us. But I was literally just about to say, Epsilon there were outslaying Millenium fairly substantially, and I'm pretty surprised at that. But no, the game session is private, so I think the game is actually still continuing.
Yeah, the game might still be going on, but... Well, I guess... Well, I'll see you next week, mate.
Yeah, looks like we've lagged out. Gfinity, sort your internet out. Come on. Lagging out mid-game. But no, the thing is Epsilon were outslaying Millenium there, and I think the Swanee 27, I think Zero had 27, and I think it was Reedy also on 23 kills. Oh no, Joe's Xbox. Okay, that's fine. Joe's Xbox froze apparently, so it's not us lagging out. So sorry, Gfinity Internet.
So I think in this situation, based on what I know with the rules, is what will happen is you'll just take the score as to what it was and start the match again. Which it's unfortunate because you can take into account momentum, spawns, and that, and you'd have to start the map again from where it was, like from just basically from the start again on that first hardpoint, which is very different. Compared to when they were on the second hardpoint, it was getting over to the third one. So in terms of momentum and setup, it can really shift the game over, and it's unfortunate. In fact, I believe technically in the rules, if we were scrubby little, amateur players who like to take free wins where they can, technically that is a Epsilon win. Technically speaking, but I know these guys have got more pride than scrubbing a victory, unless they really feel like scrubbing a victory. But I think we're way past that at this point in Call of Duty. So what I assume is going to happen is they're going to take the scores previously from what it was. I believe someone who we might actually have the replays running upstairs in the production, so they can easily tell what the score was before it lagged out, and they'll just play on from whatever the score was. There.
I think it was around 134 or 122. I think because
it was very close.
Epsilon were on 119 and they got 3 seconds and they lagged out. So I think it. Yeah, I think there's about 12 seconds in it. So if we restart, it is going to be inconvenient, to say the least. However, I think we might get one full
That's just how good this game is. Yeah. The Xbox servers couldn't handle it.
Yeah, or Joe's Xbox just couldn't handle it. It's like, no, I can't hold on.
I think this might be the final moments. We have it on our preview screen. That was just before it lagged out. 129 to Millenium, 125 to Epsilon.
Well, there's 4 seconds in it.
You consider the fact that it was like 50 to 60 points going into the last hard point on the first rotation.
Yeah.
And how much Millenium have come back into this. But you see the scores as well by the players as well. 19 and 27 by Rated, 17 and 27. If they can continue to shut them down, if they can shut down Joe as well, who's only 23 and 25 as well. They could really do some damage, Epsilon. They've definitely got the slaying power in their court right now. But once again, like the Drift hardpoint, not racking up enough time.
I do have some sympathy for Kataga as well. I mean, only foreign play. I say foreign because obviously everyone in this lobby is from the UK. Obviously, he's based in France, and you can tell that he is struggling with the connection to a certain extent. Every respawn, he tends to be around the bottom when it comes to kills and things like that. And I think that may be a weakness for Millenium, which other teams can exploit. And to be fair, it looks like Epsilon were starting to exploit it. They were outslaying Millenium fairly convincingly, it has to be said. So if they can carry on going the way they were, then it should be a victory for Epsilon. But 4 seconds in it when we lost connection, that is how close this game is. Now, obviously, we aren't the...
So there's, and there's 3 minutes 40. As far as the time goes, I'm not sure if they're going to start playing... Oh, in fact, that wasn't the ending score because there's a couple seconds in it. I think that is the part where so it's 129 to 127.
Okay, all right. So there's 2 seconds in it now. So it looks like if my math is right, Millenium going to need 121 points, and it looks like Epsilon are going to need 123 points. So it's, I mean, arguably you could start that again. There's only 2 seconds in it, so there's not really a lot to play for. There's no substantial lead for any side, which
it's just a
they need to reclaim.
+2 difference.
Yeah, but
it could be they start from that score overall, or it could be they start plain as day from the beginning and play the whole map again.
Yeah.
With a +2 score difference.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait to see what the admins decide.
We could see a full set of rotations, though. I think that's what we did at the 100K. There was an issue with one of the Xboxes at the 100K, and the game was ended, and it just restarted from the score it was, supposedly. So I think we'll be playing this until one of the teams gets to 250, inverted commas. Yeah. So for that to be the case, Millenium will need 121 points, and Epsilon will need 123 points. 129 to 127 was the final score before the Xbox switched off, and
it's unfortunate. I think
there's always some drama when we cast a game, isn't there? It's never just a simple series where there's no problems. There's always something.
I think that, I wouldn't be surprised if both teams are happy with just starting the whole map over with a +2 score difference, because +2 is really not that big a deal. Millenium arguably had control of the next spawns, and there's only 10 seconds left, which Epsilon would have cleaned up and taken the lead. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a full map restart and just play with a +2 score difference. I think that's probably the more logical way, because there are so many different factors. Like, had this been Black Ops 2, we would have been in big trouble, because in Black Ops 2 there were streaks involved as well. Even on Ghost you had the specialist. So if anyone had specialist bonus, or if anyone had streaks back then and this happened, it was literally a tear your hair out moment, because you can't ever replicate this kind of thing. And there are only so many games actually in the world who have a recovery feature from a game where you can actually recover where it was last left off.
Yeah. Maybe tweet Vonderhaar. Vonderhaar, please.
Just recovery system, please.
But, I'm currently looking at the spawns right now, because you briefly touched on it. I know you haven't got it on screen, guys, but it looked like Millenium was set up better on the next hardpoint, saying that one player had spawned out in and around Blue Cat area, or not Blue Cat, Blue Cut area, sorry. And, they did have preferential spawns. However, there was a 4-man push coming from Epsilon on the right-hand side. So they could have broken that hill, or Millenium could have clutched up on that hill. We don't know which way it was going to go, so it's difficult to tell on that front. However, Millenium, 2-second advantage. As soon as we know what's going to happen, we will let you know. We're going to try and get in the lobby now. I think Joe's Xbox is alive.
Might be hosting this one. He's invited me to a game. I'm in his lobby. So people are joining, so Joe is no longer going to be hosting.
Yeah, well, Joe was playing well, 23 and 25, but Mad Cat playing better, because that's what Mad Cat does. He's a beast.
Well, so Swanee, 28 and 19.
Yeah,
he shut that team down.
Yeah, but Zero as well. The streaks he was going on, fair play to Zero. He's been, I was impressed with him in the Uplink. The other games, kind of hit and miss, hot and cold. But in this game,
nothing amazing.
No, but then in this game, he's turning up the class. He's showing why he deserves a shot in this Epsilon side alongside these top quality players, and I'm impressed thus far. It's always difficult to lead. Finish top of the leaderboard when you've got...
If he doesn't really perform, he's got the greatest substitute of all time, Mr. Rez, sitting out there, the greatest player in all of the land. I thought I'd give him a shout-out. He asked me to give him a shout-out, so if he's watching, there you go.
Product placement, but for people.
Product placement.
But, we're still waiting for this lobby to start up. I said Mad Cat is going to host up, so Joe isn't going to have an extra cheese, not saying he's a host player or anything like that before you tweet me any abuse, as I keep saying, but... Obviously, I don't think it's going to make any difference at all, to be honest with you. But every time Shane joins a lobby as well, I've noticed, he's never in party chat. I don't know what that's about, but I don't know if he just goes into party chat just before the game starts, but he's always in a conversation on his own. And, I know it sounds daft, but I always notice it. And I'm going to have to tweet him and ask him after this game starts. But, game will start briefly. As far as we understand it, it will be what we said. First one's 250, so 1-2-1 for Millenium, 1-2-3 for Epsilon. We're going to find out from production again now and keep chasing them down, saying, give me an answer. But there we go. Trying to find out now. Professionalism on stream right now. Season 2 EU Pro League.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
We've been told to keep filling.
Okay, no worries. Well, let's touch on...
It's been I might as well admin this game. I vote for a full restart, +2 to Millenium. There we go. That's my decision. Get it over and dusted with. I don't think anyone
agree.
can complain about that.
I would agree with that.
It was
as well.
basically even. Millenium in the lead by a couple points. Epsilon about to take it by a couple points. Millenium had the spawns. They would have got that back. It would have been an even contestment.
Yeah.
Might as well just start the game over and hope no one lags out. Because if they do lag out, I'm going to be very grumpy because I'm going to get up early tomorrow to work from home.
Well, the thing is, Millenium were leading that, but it was Millenium whose host dropped. So they could easily be scrubbed, essentially, if you go by the letter of the law. So
Yeah.
I'd agree with you. Full restart, just full restart. There we go. Trout has he's influenced Gfinity here. All the admins as well. He said, do it, and they have literally just responded. I want to use a certain term, but I don't think I'm allowed. But yeah, I think he's
Well, they said full restart, but I'm wondering if there's any point difference at all. I don't think there is now. I think it's just a full restart. They're pretty happy.
Okay.
Because you could argue it basically...
We're not going home anytime soon.
Millenium in the lead. Epsilon could take the lead because they have 9 seconds left. Millenium had the spawns for the next one. It's basically even. Might as well do a full restart. That sounds fair as anything for me. That's actually made life very easy. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, very true. If Epsilon gets trounced now, I'm pretty sure they're going to be pretty upset, to be honest with you. But saying that, it is fair.
Upset?
Well, they were
slightly... Like everyone had... Millenium in the lead, Epsilon about to take the lead, Millenium had the spawns, Epsilon could have challenged it and won it, you never know. But
okay, full restart, so extra gameplay for you guys at home, whether or not you're eating Maltesers, maybe a bag of Doritos, maybe you're sat
do you want to go to the lobby and get some Maltesers?
I'm tempted, to be fair. I was going to hammer home like a punchline, like maybe you sat on the toilet squeezing one out, but no, apparently that's interrupted. That's what I do when I watch streams. Anyway, professionalism here, Season 2 EU Pro League. Anyway, currently on board with Reedy.
I've got deja vu like we played this map already today.
Yeah, 100%.
But Reedy on this glass, just doing what he can, slaying 2 people. He spots Joe on that cut, does get the kill. Free streak for him. Just wrapping around to the back of the spawn just in case anyone does try and flank him and get hold of those spawns. Gataga pushing this mystery, does get that kill, is going to get taken down by Joe on the ring. Now Joe using the AR a lot on this map as well, and not too characteristic of Joe to be pulling out an AR, but he is doing his job right now, free, contesting the hill. Not a lot of points going in the favor of anyone right now as Zero's pushing towards his glass street. Has spotted the back on Madcat. Can he get the kill? Does spot Joe behind this cylinder. Can he make it happen? No. Madcat shuts him down. Millenium gonna take a couple of points in their favor as this next hardpoint comes up.
Yeah, well, as you can see, there's literally going to be 1 second in it at the end of the scrap time. No, there's not even 1 second in it. It's 0 seconds in it. So great mathematics from me. That's why I cast, and I'm not a mathematician. Anyway, going to jump on board with Gataga, taken out from behind, though, by Zero. It looks like Epsilon are going to continue where they left off and outslay Millenium, apart from Shane, down on that breadstick thus far, locking down Pipe Room, though. And Gunbattle coming out right now. Easy kill there for Shane.
Like a book.
And Epsilon now just going to try and extend this lead. And yeah, thus far.
Okay, so Millenium are going to be going into this 2 points ahead. That's fine. I would have probably gone for a full restart plain as day, but I'm not an admin. I'm a caster, unfortunately.
Don't take this, Trout.
I know.
Use your influence.
You know what? I'm just going to walk off set right now and say this is ludicrous.
Anyway, on with the day. Reedy, last player alive for Epsilon in and around this hill. Oh, hip fires Joe there.
Reedy is fired up now. He is not happy about how that went. He is definitely certain this could have gone their way. Shane with the 2-piece, locking down this hill. Points are in Epsilon's favor right now. Millenium trying to get that scrap time. They have spawned way out right now, and Epsilon in control of the garage hardpoint. Epsilon, show us what you got.
Yeah, well, jump on board with Zero as he tends to go on random streaks whenever he feels like it. Currently 7-6 on a 1 streak, though. Picks up Madcat from behind, though. Taken out from behind by Rated, though. So Rated does break their hill. That's who we're going to jump on board with the AR. Taken out by Reedy, though. And it looks like Epsilon going to take control of that hill again. And it looks like Epsilon at the moment are just setting up better out of the 2 sides.
That was such a good pinch there. Reedy actually got a split spawn, and it meant that 2 people came from dirt, pinched the big doors, and Reedy pinched from the other side, took the hill by storm, and Epsilon getting a nice little healthy lead in this first set of rotations. Let's see who's going to make the early rotate for this next one. Just 20 seconds left on it. They're going to keep contesting it. Rated goes in there, shut down again. Rated really not having the best of maps so far. It seems like not only has the previous attitude from maps not gone in his favor, but that restart really has upset him as well.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it looks like Joe's going to get that scrap time. Going to jump on board with Gataga, though. 5 and 13, still struggling with that connection by the look of it. Picks up a kill, though, in and around that map's area. He's going to try and break the hill. We've seen this from him in the last game. Oh, it picks up
another big 2-piece.
Oh, wow. I thought he was going to pick up a ridiculous 3-piece, to be honest with you. However, got unlucky. But Millenium were in control of that hill, but it looks like Epsilon have broken back again. Every time Millenium go into a hill, it looks like they just get broken far too easily by this Epsilon side. But as soon as I say that, Millenium hit back, and now they're back in control of this hardpoint.
Absolutely, Reedy coming out of maps. Zero also getting a kill. Swannies unfortunately spawned far, far out with 30 seconds left on the hill. This is where Millenium are going to start getting points back on the board for their team, as they do struggle to actually maintain juggling the hill and making the kills they can. Here comes the push from Epsilon from Glass. Swanee makes one kill. Gataga behind the car does get taken out by Zero. Zero gets a second, and Shane follows that one up. This is going to be 14 seconds, hopefully, in the favor of Epsilon, as Rated challenges for the scrap time. Does get a huge two-piece there to make sure that this bleed does not go in the favor of Epsilon, with Rated getting a three-piece. Can he get the fourth? He does get the fourth kill. Impressive stuff from Rated. He's finally coming out firing. He is definitely on a warpath right now, looking to shut down this Epsilon lineup. It's not going to happen any further than that, though, and the score is finally starting to level itself up.
Yeah, 100%. Big kill, though, from Shane, but Madcat has traded up with a big two-piece of his own. Currently on a 3-streak, going to stun in towards that lot area. Zero destroys him from distance there with a submachine gun. Joe pushing this purple area. Bit of a power position on this hard point, it has to be said, but Joe's going to be pushing this blue cut area. Should pick up a simple kill there on Rails, does, but he's going to get taken out from behind by Glass, or from Glass, I should say. Shane locking down this hill time, trying to re-extend that Epsilon lead. That's
some far out spawns right there. Like I think Millenium they basically tried to push out Garage and push out Ring to make the whole of Epsilon spawn out onto the B cut, and unfortunately it didn't quite work out for them, and they started spawning out on dirt, so that's going to lose them some time. Epsilon up by about 12 points right now. Scrap time is going to be going over in the favor of Millenium, as Reedy makes one final challenge, and they are going to have that scrap time. In fact, Rated again challenging, and it's going to go to the middle.
Well, I'm going to jump on board with Joe. He's still using that AR thus far, 9 and 16 though, so it's not working for him, so I definitely say he needs to change classes. As soon as I say that though, picked up a two-piece on Epsilon, I should say, and he's still alive, pushing this blue cut area as well. He's going to look towards that glass spawn, but he's going to take it from behind. No, he's not. Punch has been missed. He's going to be, oh, Swanee just takes him out and covers his teammate. I do believe Gataga on that hard point wins a gun battle on Shane. Needs to win one more at least, though. He's being tagged up, cover from his teammates, so, and it looks like Millenium have actually taken the lead here. Finally
taken the lead in this second set of rotations we're about to see on Hardpoint. Let's jump on. Oh no, we're not going to have another lag out, are we? Oh. That would be absolutely dramatic if we did. Madcat taking down Swanee, picks that one out on the solar. It looks like kills are going in the favor of Epsilon. They still haven't got the lead, though. 15 seconds left on this neutral hardpoint. Swanee going to duck and cut his losses. Make sure he anchors for this next spawn and this next hardpoint.
Yeah, well, Swanee's going to jump off P1, pick up a kill from distance there on Madcat. He's going to pick up the two-piece on Rated. Yes, he does pick up the two-piece, which means he is going to have the benefit of yellow cut. As soon as I say that, Madcat gets a very beneficial spawn there. Going to jump on board with Reedy. No, I'm not. He's taken out by Millenium there, and right now it looks like Millenium are starting to get more comfortable as this game goes on, I should say. But Epsilon now in control of yellow cut. This was the hard point where they extended their lead to something of significance, to be honest with you. So can they do the same again? Because if they do, they will have confidence headed in to the final 3 hard points.
Once again, Epsilon, so much slaying power in their arsenal in this hard point, but just aren't getting the time.
Oh, like, Joe's timed out again.
Joe's timed out again.
Oh, this is going to cost
I don't know
Millenium.
whether they're going to end this. In fact, they are going to end it, and it's basically even again.
I didn't think you could end it. I thought if a player lagged out mid-game, the
thing is, like, as far as the rules go, it says that you can't. Well, you shouldn't be ending the game. You play until the end of the game, and you just get on with it. But in this circumstances, these guys are friends. They don't want any bad blood, because you know what happens if one team starts to scrub a victory over another. It escalates into catastrophic circumstances, and that's not what we want here. This is a fair league. We want it to be in the interest of good sportsmanship and fair play. So they're just going to end the game. And I think at this point, you've basically got to play. In my opinion, this looks like it could be a recurring theme. So if I was admins, if you're listening at home, I would say at this point you cut your loss, because that's another point in the favor. So there's only a 1 point difference overall as to what's going.
We can do a full restart.
So
with only 1 point
I would do like a 1 point. I would do a half a rotation.
Yeah.
And start it from like +1 Millenium.
My concern though is it seems like every time Epsilon get momentum going and they literally just about to take the lead, they just took the lead in that game, then Joe lags out. I'm not saying he's doing it on purpose or anything like that. Don't worry, I'm not accusing.
It's a tough one.
But from Epsilon's perspective, you're sat there going, right, we've just got some heat going. We've just started to play really well. We've just taken the lead. Or we're just about to take the lead. And then someone lags out and the game's ended. It's really hard to keep picking yourself up from that, because it's frustrating. If you're sat there, even from my perspective, if I'm sat there and someone keeps lagging out every time my team start to take the lead or about to take the lead, I'm like, for God's sake, like, sort your Xbox out, sort it out.
It is annoying,
and the thing is this, it may question Epsilon's mentality now, because right now Millenium are probably sat there chuckling, going, spot on, just lost the lead twice in a row, essentially, get to end the game, and well, all right, apparently Joe has been booted now, so we'll have to try and sort that out. And
I think in a situation like this, they have given Millenium the benefit of doubt twice now. I would expect at this one they're saying, look, not being funny, guys, but, you know, what's the time now? It's 10:15.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't want to be sitting here in this game all night.
Yeah.
They'll probably say, if it happens again in this, we're just going to play on.
To be honest with you, obviously, Joe is saying he's been booted, but to be honest with you, I don't know how you could find out you've been booted that quickly, to be honest with you. And I'm concerned the Xbox may have frozen again, to be honest with you, because I think if Joe turns around and says, yeah, my Xbox is frozen again, Epsilon are going to be turning around, right, well, that's twice now, like, screw you, we're having the win. Whereas if he says he's been booted, it's not his fault, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I'm not accusing anyone of lying or anything like that, but I'm just saying question marks can be raised. And from Epsilon's perspective, would I blame them for saying, look, come on, this is getting ridiculous now? No, not at all, because I'd be getting heated right now. I'm saying, look, you know, we've just taken the lead twice.
It's a frustrating situation, but as I said, these guys are all professionals. They're all friends. It's about good sportsmanship as much as it is about 100%. Trying to win. If I'm in Epsilon's shoes, because the thing is, you could say that, and all of a sudden in this next game, an Epsilon player could be booted. They could lag out. An Xbox could freeze, and
we'd have to restart again.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not very fair. But I would probably be thinking, if I was Epsilon, like, if it happens again, we're just going to play on, because we've given you 2 chances now. Here comes potentially the third game that we're going to be playing of this. We can't just sit here all night. And I have to sympathize with those players who aren't being booted, that you just have to be in their shoes, that we can't sit here. This game could have easily momentumed into our favor. You see the kills going in their favor, and you see the hardpoints going in their favor, and it really does start to you can't replicate that. You can't recover the game in the current form. And I would sympathize with Epsilon if they said, like, in the next game, if it happens, then we're just going to play on. That's it. We can't be waiting here, because, you know, it is late at night. Like, people want to do other stuff. They probably got other stuff they need to do tonight.
A bag of Maltesers, maybe.
Yeah, bag of Maltesers. Maybe they need to go Tesco before it shuts. Shuts at like 11, doesn't it?
Shut at 11.
Got to go get some Maltesers. So I don't know. I would be I'm sympathetic towards Millenium, that this does happen on occasions, but I'm also sympathetic to Epsilon, that you know, you can't just let this happen all night until eventually the planets align and we all get it underway and everything finishes.
So till 3 a.m. until Millenium win.
Yeah, so I would just say that you give it one more chance, and if it's not working out, you just got to play it on.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be no one wants to see that kind of ending. We want to see a proper contested, because, as I said, I predicted it's going to the wire, and right now, twice, it's been going to the wire. So I'd love to see it go to the wire but finish.
Yeah.
What? Do you know what would be the worst?
What?
Is if this got all the way to the end and it got so to the wire, it ended in a draw.
Wouldn't surprise me.
That would be the trolliest thing I've ever seen.
But on your screen,
because then we'd be forced to play the game again, regardless of what happens.
We're never going home. But on your screen currently, you can see where the game finished off, 113 to 112 in favor of Epsilon. Kills, once again, Epsilon outslaying Millenium, apart from Mad Cat. But that's just because Mad Cat is Mad Cat. We say it time and time again. 33 kills after 6.5 minutes. You know, if he'd carried on at that pace, he could have arguably dropped over 45 kills, which, you know, if you lost there would have been a problem. We don't know how many kills Joe was on. He was at the bottom of that side, though. I think he was struggling in that game. He was predominantly using an AR, as I called out during the game.
If production rewinds our replay, we could see what he's on.
Okay, we'll try and rewind that for production. So rewind it until Joe lags out. I'll let Trout. Trout's going to use his influence again. He's just been like,
I command this plane.
Do it! Do it! But yeah, it's always being rewinded
so
right now.
he's about 14 and 20 there.
14
Free
and
captures,
20.
Which is weird, because Joe is the main kind of
14 and 20.
OBJ player, so only having 3 captures to his name. Looks like Mad Cat as well. 7 hardpoint captures.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe Joe can say that he was struggling with connection the whole game, perhaps. But once again, Shane, he's not in a party chat. Do you reckon he's not speaking whilst he's playing?
He just loves having time to talk to his fans.
What, on the opposite team? His fans on the opposite team?
Just in general.
Fair play. Well,
people love Shane.
Yeah, well, we're going to see what we can sort out for this next game, because actually, are we starting it?
Apparently we're starting it.
We're starting at 3v4?
Let me just check.
Okay, hang on, we're going to find out. It's all happening here The Gfinity Arena.
I think I'm going to. Yeah, we've got another full restart here. Is there a point difference or +1?
Finding out point difference, guys. It's all happening. It should be +1 point difference if we're being really nitpicky. +1 to Millenium. It could, to be fair, if it carries on going at this rate, the +1 will be pretty influential. And to be honest, can I just ask a quick question? If you get booted offline, can you get back on that quickly?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You only
in 3 minutes?
All it is just flooding your internet. All you got to do is just reset it, really.
In 3 minutes? If you get booted, it takes more than 3 minutes. It's just been ended again. I'm not buying that. I reckon his Xbox frozen again. I'm calling out as conspiracy theorist. If I get booted, it takes me longer. And my internet's pretty good because I'm in London. But I don't know. Maybe that's just my internet provider. Maybe he's just
Something's
terrible.
happening here because
we
only had Millenium spawn in that time, so I'm not sure. I think they might be discussing what the point difference is.
Shane is actually in broadcaster mode, so they started a little bit prematurely.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're saying there's a +1 difference now because technically Epsilon were in the lead.
Well, there should be a +1. Well, the thing is technically...
I think it's easier just to scrap the whole thing.
Yeah, 100%. I think when it comes down to, it's +1 to me.
It was literally... Do you know what? It was actually basically at the same point again on both the games. So, restart with 1 point is what we're hearing. To Millenium, that is.
Yeah.
So it's almost basically means nothing, but it could...
it could mean something, because
these teams as that was going, it could prove to be very detrimental. It could be proving to be very significant.
Yeah. Well, I just briefly want to say that, we do apologise for all the issues that are going on currently. It's out of our control right now, so we are having to talk about some other things as well and speculate on certain things. So apologise that we're not bringing you wall-to-wall action, intense casting. However, this is out of our control, so it's a bit of a shame. We're still waiting for Shane to get out of broadcaster mode before we can jump back in, so there's still issues on that front. If this carries on, we're probably not going to go home until like 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that, so we have to share an Uber home or something like that. Carry on the...
I live very far away from you, so I don't know how we're going to get...
How do you know where I live?
Well, you don't live near me, so...
I'm getting scared now, to be fair.
Okay. Well, you've just lost yourself the caster desk.
All right, fine. All right, no worries. I'll
get my own caster desk.
Yeah. Anyway, but I'll tell you what, let's talk about some other results quickly, because obviously the Infused and Hyper Games result has come in 4-2. We spoke about that briefly earlier. So Infused currently top of Season 2 of EU Pro League. Not a lot of people would have predicted that, to be fair, after the 2 games, particularly with Vitality. Vitality arguably having a fairly simple opening 2 games, no disrespect intended to anyone there. So a lot of people would expect Vitality to be leading the way, but because of the connection issues last night, etc., Infused are leading the way. However, I ask you a brief question, and that's, do you think Hyper Games can get dragged into a relegation battle this season?
Yeah, I mean, in their fairness, Mello is on holiday right now, and they probably got it's a little bit less hostile with him because of all this drama that's going on between the Hyper Games team, and I think that once Mello comes back, things will calm down a little bit more. Yeah. We know how good Mello is. He single-handedly brought the jaws of defeat for Millenium last season to bring it back in after he was already traded to Hyper Games. So I think there's going to be a massive difference once he comes back.
He's a completely different player as well.
Yeah, and we've seen that they have the potential to play, especially online. And we still got a couple games to play online after this. There'll be 2 more weeks after this online, plus the obviously ending LAN where they'll play 3 games in total on that ending LAN.
Yeah.
And you said that they're not particularly proficient on LAN compared to what they're previously
They're definitely better with Mello at LAN, to be honest with you. It's not saying that Riskin's bad, but I think as a team they do better. The 100K, they didn't have a great performance, but obviously playing up against the best teams in the world, it's particularly difficult to show off your best assets, so to speak. But I think we're going to give you the Pro League schedule for the rest of the season now, which is on your screen right now. So we are now on the 19th of August, I believe, and next week we'll be back the 26th of August. And then after that, it's all about LAN. So 2 games done after tonight. Then, 3rd, 4th, both... no, just the 3rd after this is online. Is it the 19th today? No, it's not, actually. I'm wrong. Never mind. So there's 2 more games left online. Then, obviously, we've got the 3 games at LAN as well. So it's the last opportunity for some of these teams which aren't as strong at LAN to pick up some crucial points, because it really could be the difference. Last season, we saw a team go down based off of a one and done because everything was identical. And this season is even more competitive. So you know, every single week you've got to make sure 8 p.m. BST you're not doing anything, because this is the #1 place to be, just in the world generally, to be honest with you, because we've got T1 casting talent in myself and Trout. We've got wall-to-wall action. I've just spat everywhere. I do apologise. Wall-to-wall action.
That didn't hit me.
Yeah, I know. That would have definitely ruined the bromance.
Yeah, that would have been it done and dusted.
I'm drinking too much water and I don't swallow.
We've had to fill for a long time. I need the toilet. I'm not going to lie. I didn't expect this to happen. Like, I really could do with a toilet break, but I'm not. Shane, could you get out of broadcaster mode, mate? Like, have some sympathy. We've been sitting here for an hour and a half at least.
No, longer.
Probably
Is
longer.
It 10:15. We started at 8.
It's 25 past 10.
Yeah, almost 2.5 hours.
Wow.
We're not being paid enough. We're not getting breaks.
Okay. I think we were supposed to have a break in between, but I forgot to ask for one.
Oh.
Because that's usually when we have our break and we go to the toilet. But
well,
just to tell you about my urination habits.
Season 2 of EU Pro League,
It's got to that point where I'm a bit like, I'm so tired now. We've been sitting in this very claustrophobic room with these bright lights, talking for 2 hours straight, watching Call of Duty, getting animated. I'm a bit spent now.
Okay, no worries.
That's
well,
just me.
All right, you can go then. Just walk out the door.
Walk out the door.
No, welcome anymore.
If we do that.
Oh, so yeah, stream will just be muted now just because of copyrighted music. But we're still waiting on Shane to get out of broadcaster mode. So I think we are going to jump into a quick break because we don't know what's going on with Shane. I think we've lost another player as well. So we really do apologise for this delay, and we apologise it's not wall-to-wall action that you're used to seeing from the EU Pro League and ourselves. But we're going to go to a very quick commercial break now. Go to the toilet, join Trout maybe, grab a bag of Maltesers. We'll be right back after this break.
And welcome back to the Gfinity EU Pro League. We've got everything sorted out, and this is what is happening. So, full restart. 1 point, however, will be in the favour of Millenium. Joe is back on host, and Joe obviously having the 2 problems in the previous attempts at this. If he disconnects, Epsilon will win the map. If anyone else disconnects in this map, we just play on. It's tough for anyone on the Epsilon side who, God forbid, for some reason does disconnect or have a problem of some sort. It's a pain, I know, but that's just how we've got to get on with it, because obviously we've got to get home, the production has to get home, and everyone needs to go on with their lives after this. We can't just sit here playing and watching Call of Duty all night. And I have to say, we talked about professionalism last night, and we saw a couple of players having a huff as well. But you've just got to stay professional in all of this. Like, the huff of it going is just... Yeah, I know.
I know what you're trying to say.
It's a not good situation for anyone. And if something happens now, it's going to be catastrophically horrible. But at the end of the day, you've got to maintain your professionalism. We've been doing Call of Duty for a long time. This has happened before. It will happen again in the future until everyone gets some sort of protection from any sort of problems, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. We're just going to have to get on with it, do our best, and having said that, Millenium are off to a volcanic start.
Yeah, 19-4 here. Epsilon pretty much backs up against the wall instantaneously, so they are going to have to work relatively hard to get some of this difference back. Saying that, it's only the first hard point. Most of this tends to be contest time, so it has been a little bit of a surprise from Millenium. And the thing about Epsilon is they were within their rights to turn around and say, well, actually, no, that's a map win for us. However, they are professionals. They are one of the top teams around.
It just opens a can of worms you don't want to be doing.
They want to play. At the end of the day, they want to play and they want to win fairly. At the same time, this start isn't going to do their mentality any good because they are currently 39-4 down after just over one hard point of play. So right now, Shane is currently 1-6. Swanee, though, decent start from him. 8-4 on a 4 streak. Let's see if we can get the bloodthirsty.
Absolutely. Epsilon usually with the incredible starts off the 2 times we started this up before, and it's not quite going the way of Epsilon right now. Shane 1-7, 0, 2-7, the 2 people who really need to step up. Zero's having some incredibly hot starts in these games that we've actually had to restart a couple of times now, and it's not quite going for him. I think this is a massive opportunity for Millennium. Obviously, we saw how down their confidence had gotten and how their attitudes had dropped after that Search and Destroy, especially in the head of Rated, and it looks like with that downtime, he's really come back and sorted himself out, and Millennium are coming in with a charging fashion.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Zero is currently 2-10, so it's not been a good start from him whatsoever. Opting to use Hardwired as well, by the look of it. Yeah, using Hardwired on this hard point, and he hasn't been using that in the past, if I'm not mistaken, so a bit of a risky strategy, perhaps some may say. However, he's on that rotation, he's on this hard point. Oh, beautiful turn on kill there on Rated. That's more like it from Zero. Doesn't pick up that next kill, though, but Epsilon going to try and claw back the difference, but Millennium just too strong at the moment.
Absolutely, really pushing through his window room, does catch one out, spots him and gets the second. Wow. Millennium Mad Cat trades that away. Zero right in the hardpoint, does not manage to get the kill, but he's still alive, and the hardpoint is in the possession of Epsilon right now. Here comes the pinch from Millennium. Gataga waiting for someone on Big Door. Rated does get the kill, traded away on Zero. This is where they come in. Reedy also taking down Swanee on his own. He's once again getting taken down. 15 seconds left on this garage hardpoint. Epsilon getting a couple of points on the board to get back in this, but once again, they're still trailing by a fair bit. I think Rated just caught Reedy there, trying to pre-fire, does get the kill on him on glass. Now he's pushing forward, and he's sure that Swan is going to be behind this head glitch, does spot him and tags him up quite nicely, taking no damage himself. He's still alive, however, he does go for the trade on Zero. Swanee answers back on that, and Epsilon still have control. Yeah,
Swanee getting great heal time thus far. He's just staying alive, keeps getting tagged up by Millennium, but he's currently 15-9 main slayer of the lobby alongside Rated. But Shane down 4-12 thus far. He's not had a great series, it has to be said. However, still plenty of time for him to get back into this map, but no, taken down again. So I'm going to jump aboard with Zero again. 7-15, very hot and cold, it has to be said, on Hardpoint. It's a shame that obviously the game did end when it did because he was on an absolute terror, but Swanee 15-11 currently carrying that Epsilon side. It has to be said, almost double the kills of Reedy, you know, and he's second in that kills department thus far. However, 101-44 is the crucial score on your screen right now, and Millennium just look very comfortable, and perhaps the mentality from Epsilon isn't where it should be.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely gotten into the head of Shane. I'm sure he was the one making a big noise about what had happened, because it is not very fair what's happened to Epsilon. But in the interest of fairness in the competition, sportsmanship, and keeping everything going, because the can of worms that will open if you start to try and scrub a map can be really bad. It can really open a can of worms, and it might be a while before it starts going again. And it's definitely had a bad impact on Epsilon, and it looks like Reedy's left the game. I'm not sure what's going on now, whether that's just them giving up on it or a disconnect or something like that. But the game has to be played on. That's how it's going down. The game is going to be played on, and it looks like Millennium. It's put a damper on the game. I mean, at the end of the day, the decision by the admins is not an easy one. It is not an easy one. It's tough at the end of the day, what has to be made here, the decision that needs to be made. But it was the correct one at the end of the day, and I stick by that and stick by the admins that it was the correct decision. It's not fair on Epsilon. I sympathize them completely with that, and it is tough. It's put a damper on what was an incredible series, but there is no one you can really fault here. It just happens. That's online Call of Duty for you, and it is a shame. And
well, the thing is it's not even the end of the first set rotations. Obviously, it is now, and then 2 players have left. Shane is currently AFK, 6-18. Swanee is trying to play on his own, but that's typical Swanee, to be honest with you. A pro to the end, and yeah, even if he's being hammered, he's going to carry on trying. He's trying to pick up a kill there, but he's not going to be successful. And the thing is once again, it comes down to that question on professionalism. Not rated, Reedy leaving that soon. Yeah, they're frustrated, but if you're that frustrated, don't even start the game and just say, look, I'm sorry, we're not playing on, we're going to scrub it. And, you know, if they want to argue with admins all night, that's absolutely fine. But if you're that confident on it or you're that sure on it, then, you know, just stick to your guns. If you're going to start a map and then just quit out straight away, it's a waste of everyone's time again at the end of the day. But, you know, it's frustrating. 2 nights in a row, we've seen some professionalism perhaps questioned, but with this example, I can understand why Epsilon are frustrated. At the same time, the way to go about it is to play the map into the end, in my view. And I'm disappointed in Zero as well, to be honest with you. He's just come into this team, and I don't think you impress people, to be honest with you, by leaving the game. And Reedy has probably set a bad example on that front.
Reedy's always had his... He always keeps his heart on his sleeve. Yeah. I mean, he is quite an emotional character with the game because he does care a lot and he puts a lot of time and effort into this. And to have things go the way it did, it's not very fun to experience. Like, some of this has happened to me, and it's not fun. Like, you can't... There's no kidding about it. You can't pretend to be okay with it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the players sign up for this. They know what online Call of Duty can produce, what will happen, and some of the resulting factors to things. And they're well in their rights to be upset. They're well in their rights to argue their case and point. But at the end of the day, what was made, the decision that was made was the correct one. I don't think there's anyone out there who can argue that it wasn't. By the letter of the law, not technically the way that it should have gone down. But as far as sportsmanship goes, as far as playmanship goes, and fair play throughout the entire thing, and trying to keep a good sporting field of the entire league, it was the correct decision to do. And it's not it's not an easy one to make by anyone, and it is unfortunate that what was a great series ended that way. We'll take a quick look at the schedule so you can see when we'll be back for some more Pro League action. Next Wednesday at 8 PM, we'll be back, followed by the Wednesday afterwards, and then we are on to the big LAN closing final for the Season 2 Pro League. It's a very short Pro League this season.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of games packed into, you know, the space of a month, essentially. Well, not even that, about 3 weeks. So, with that in mind, teams are going to slip up because there's so many games coming thick and fast. Obviously,